Hey, what's up? No, man, I'm like naked. I didn't even until I saw myself on the camera. I'm like, I probably should have put on a shirt. It's hot in Georgia, and I'm on a farm. Uh, actually, for the last couple days, for a long time, actually, for like a week. Wait, when was it? When did I go to Florida? This is what my streams are like. If this is the first time you tuned in, I just fucking reminisce about recent things that I can't remember. Um, yeah, I was in Florida doing field recording, and it was hot, much like you would expect with Florida. And I also was like getting over COVID, so I was like, just not. There's so much noise pollution, not good noise pollution. There's no such good thing as good noise pollution, I guess. But it wasn't like, oh, a distant car or a plane. It was like, no, fucking Jimmy Buffett on a Bluetooth speaker or, a bar playing country music, things like that. And then I came back to Georgia and I was like, oh crap, well, I got to get a bunch of field recordings, ultrasonic field recordings of birds. And I started doing that. And I've been doing that every single day this week, which is like really nice. It's field recording, so anybody who's done it knows how like peaceful or frustrating it is. It's one or the other. You like never have an okay day field recording. You're either like so stoked and so happy about it, and you're like, this is the best job ever, or you absolutely hate it because something's getting in the way of your field recording. So since I have been doing it for so many days, you could probably guess how most of those days went, but I still love doing it, and it was wonderful. Also, other things to note. Um, I had some other news to say. Oh yeah, just random thing that I thought of. you know, so this video on bird calls, kind of. It's about more than that, but I was like looking through the physiology of birds and how they make their songs and how they're so precise. It's kind of like a crazy phenomenon, right? And the vocal cords of a bird is actually, I'm not sure how you would pronounce it. Sphinx. I've never actually said it out loud before. Let me type it. Syrinx? Syrinx. Yeah, okay. I've never said it out loud before. Anyway, syrinx, Syrinx. It's like these two tubes that come from the lungs and they sort of meet halfway, and there's all these muscles. Some birds have like, 15 muscles or something in there, and they all contract and get bigger and smaller. And then the birds, that's how they can make such precise tones. And then they sort of memorize muscle movements. It's wild, totally wild. I cannot believe that nobody has ever made an instrument out of this concept. I'm sure it would be like a weird bagpipe pan flute type thing, but I cannot believe. Like I literally spent a good hour today, this morning, just being like, there's got to be an instrument. Somebody, some wacky hippie guy in fucking Oregon or something has had to make a syrinx instrument, but it's never been done, apparently. I did find a broken syrinx 3D model, but it's broken. I don't know why somebody would scan a broken syrinx and put it on a 3D modeling site, but maybe that wacky guy in Oregon's a little darker than we thought he was. All right, sorry, catching up on this chat. Kettle's here. Hey, Kettle. I was just talking to Kettle. Kettle and I were having a debate just now about two things: physical modeling versus sampling. It wasn't so much of a debate, but talking about like, I'm probably a bigger believer in physical modeling than Kettle is. And then also, he's just a big fan of the National Socialist Party in Germany in the 30s. And I saw a few problems with that. I couldn't follow the ideology of the leader. I forgot what his name was. He liked German Shepherds, though. I mean, so I guess that's cool. And then finally, we're using Bitwig today, which is kind of like the MPE king. And while I have this open, I thought, okay, the random thought, I probably shouldn't even be doing this, but should let you know that if there's ever a movie about like the synth world, this guy, who do we think would play him? Who do we think would be the perfect actor, both the way they look physically and the way that they behave and the characters that they have portrayed in the past? Who would be the perfect actor to play Uli Berenger? Because I have the answer to this, if you're wondering. Ready? I want to see some suggestions first. All right. There's probably too much of a delay. I don't have patience. Okay, ready? Here we go. Here comes my nomination. The first person I call in the casting. Peter Serafinakowicz. Look at this. It would be perfect. I almost want to make a movie now about this. Anyway. Okay. Adam Neely. Those two individuals have nothing in common. Let's be real. All right. Just organizing my windows here. So this is, I guess the first thing we'll check out is Soliste, maybe? Is that how we pronounce that? There's a lot of bad pronunciations today. This is actually intense character, standard character. Can we view this in classic mode? Ever since I hooked up the Osmos, I'm like stuck in this other mode. It looks different than it did with MIDI mode, but I guess that's fine. You could probably see it in MIDI mode with a little demo. Oh, I guess I could turn MPE off and see it in classic mode. But yeah, you have assisted vibrato. Also, another thing that I should point out, when you first open this, it gives you some suggestions on settings for the Osmos, which I have right here next to me, as I could do this with one key press. Yeah, so you have the Osmos, and obviously it's going to work better with that than anything else because it's made by the same company, and I can't really think of anything that's even remotely comparable to the Osmos, except maybe the Touche, which is the little touch thing. And if you're not like fully in on the Osmos, the Touche is amazing. I had the Touche first. And for things like this, especially wind instruments, instead of like blowing into a spherynx or whatever the hell it's called, you could just sort of press and palpate a piece of wood on your desk, which sounds creepy, but it worked out. And it's not that creepy. It's not as creepy as the Roly thing, whatever the hell that was. That like sex toy texture, not a fan. Yeah, so we have vibrato. Vibrato was automatically enabled. Ooh, I like that harmonic. But yeah, I kind of strayed from what it suggested that I put it on. It was just not sensitive enough. But maybe I'm just like an expert Osmos user or something. I'd like to get rid of the reverb, though. There's a little bit too much in there for just sort of doing a test. Yeah. All right. Yeah, the Roly's okay. No, it's not. I hate it. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Roly that skews my opinion on it. I am pretty sure that I was going to do a video a long time ago. It was when I was making the video. I made a video called like the business private equity buyout of music production. And in that video, I went through Roly's financials because fuck, they've had a lot of like ups and downs. I'm not gonna, I just don't want to get sued, but I'm pretty sure that if someone wrote an article, like a solid journalist that gets read by a lot of people, or made a video like a big YouTuber, somebody would go to jail. I'm not kidding. Somebody would literally go to prison. Like the running title of my Roly video was Roly, where money goes to die. It's that bad. Feel free to look it up yourself. The Company's House in UK. Most companies have to publish a lot of stuff. You can find that out. Also, Germany. If a company is like active in any way in Germany, they have a lot of transparency. You could just go to the German business site, whatever it's called, and find a lot of stuff that is filed in other countries. Good journalist tip. Anyway, but yeah, they came back as the Roly thing didn't work, and then they came back with that other company, and it was like a Kickstarter, and then they didn't really deliver very well on that. Then there's like another Kickstarter back with the Roly brand or some sort of crowdfunding thing. The whole thing was so messy, but at the same time, there was a lot of loans given out with no interest that were never repaid, and then they just went insolvent, and like the money just like poof, ended up getting kept by some unnamed individual. Anyway, what do we think about this? Yeah, let's turn this vibrato off. We just want the raw. I'm also in resonant body. Let's go to like the classic spark, I guess. I guess this is the modern one, whatever that means. No Bach here. Okay, so this isn't going to sound realistic because I'm literally just pressing one key to hear the raw tone. It's funny, I just hit a low key and I was like, oh no, did I change a sample? Like with the key switches, but that's not what's happening. Interesting, there's like a... Obviously, playing super high notes is not going to sound great on a cello anyway. All right, so now let's actually try and play something a little less reverb. And you know what? I honestly liked the antique body better. Ooh, that's a little loud now. I keep playing the high notes. All right, so if I were to just play a cello line, it gets a little stale. You know what? A lot of this is my fault. Honestly, the things that I'm not liking about it are probably being caused. So I'm going to turn my pitch bending sensitivity like off. Let's see. Yeah. I'm going to turn my stabilization down. Yeah, that's way better actually. And it also depends on me playing correctly. But in the lower notes, in a real cello, in the lower notes, you will hear, that's when you hear more inaccuracy. Well, you don't hear them really. You don't realize them just because of the ratio. But, there's more room for an inaccuracy between notes. Okay, let's try the violin. And I'm going to turn my stabilization up just a little bit. And high sensitivity, all right. Okay, and also you could do this, like things like... Oops. The resonance is quite good, isn't it? I like that part the most. Yeah, one thing I want to try, I'm kind of dedicating the first hour of the stream to these instruments. One thing I really am excited to try is to hook it up to a, there's a couple different things. Chord something. There's plugins that load MPE plugins within it, and it'll load different instances of it, and then it essentially will allow me to play a quartet with this. Let's hear a violin. All right, yeah, so this is what it recommends you, and I'm like, fuck that, burn right past it. No, it's fine. They're probably good recommendations for when you start, but anything with the Osmos, you always want to customize it. Also, why are we using this reverb? We could use some real reverb if we want. Do I not have MPE on? Oh, you know what I'm not doing right? This is the one MPE trick that they don't want you to know. You have to turn it on. Yeah, there we go. Eh. That's me turning the sensitivity up too high. That's why that sounds so poopy. That's my velocity sensitivity. Let's turn that. So if I were to turn it to their recommended settings. Yeah. Let's get a good reverb in there. I mean, not that the reverb is bad, but, you know, come on. You know where we are. Maybe some... Sorry, I'm not in FL Studio, so I don't have my, like, super, super streamlined workflow. Let's see if I can find something that would fit. I kind of have a lot of reverbs, don't I? Yeah, just use IQ. That's probably the best for this. Damn. All right, let's go with chamber. Maybe like a 3.5. No, not odd. Oh no, really? Well, guess we'll guess we will not hit debug. Oh, it didn't crash the session, it just crashed the plugin. Never mind. There we go. Interesting. I guess that's good. It's yeah, I mean, I guess it does the same thing that FL does, where it more or less did it. We're at a bright plate. Let's try this again. Hopefully it won't do that again. Yeah, FL loads plugins in like a separate executable, so if they crash, you do not lose your session, which is just beautiful. Beautiful idea. I don't, these, okay, chamber vintage. There we go. What's going on in this chat? What's the name of the thing that makes you do that? Oh, yeah, virtual microphone placing. Who's that old guy prodding the Mac? Oh, that's my grandpa. My grandpa's Tim Cook, and he's actually senile in real life. I'm like too aggressive. Interesting. Also, I have like no quantization on the keys whatsoever, so things are going to sound a little wonky because I'm being extra edgy. Hollow. I need to go back to my pitch sensitivity and chill out a bit. Yeah, so I feel like trills and like weird like you know what's causing the problems in there is like if you just one thing that I feel like this would be a lot if I had like two cameras or something or one on the Osmos, but if you just so much is like so if I play this, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna turn on the just Benn screen. So if I just like touch this, like hit this key, and then go. Like all I have to do is just barely touch this. So therefore, the sensitivity is a little bit crazier. So I have to kind of keep my hands off. Let's record it and see what it looks like. We could see all my little errors. I know this is probably boring for some people, but really, the idea here is we want this to replace sampling someday. All right. Okay, let's check that out. Let's watch it. Kind of expecting everybody in the chat to be like, "You fucking suck," in the voice of that guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Mom, you did try this. You didn't try this instrument, but you did try the Osmos. You and my dad, you played with it for like 2 hours. You were like, it's all right. And then I came back in that room and you were still in it like an hour later. let it be known, my mom and dad love the Osmos. Sorry that I'm not showing you the stream. Okay. You didn't miss much. All you missed was these notes being put in. If I only do that like 4 times in this stream, it will be a treat. Oh, are we still in record mode? Why do I not hear a playback? Is it muted? This is one of my dumb, I don't know what I'm doing in Bitwig moments. Oh yeah, I gotta press this. Yeah, you can see all the errors in there. Just from where my greasy, gigantic gorilla fingers are just hitting everything on accident. My clumsy, I could never be a thief. I mean, I could be a thief. I could never be like an art thief with these clumsy gorilla hands. Banana fingers. That's a little cleaned up now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would use this over Contact if I were trying to make that sort of thing. If I were to make that sort of vibe. All right. Let's read some of these questions here. I wasn't convinced by the sound in the videos ExpressAV put out, and there's no other videos I found people using them. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. Kettle just sent me the, I just doxed Kettle. It's over. No, his name's public. Yeah, he just sent me a link to that video, and I was like, I think I kind of got better results on my first, but I think also like that was just trying to make like a song, and mine is more like accuracy oriented or something. Something like that. What else we got here? Should check out the Embodme Array 2. I have the first one, and then I got an email asking if I wanted to try out the second one, and then I lost the email. I wanted to bring it to NAMM, like that. I just wanted that to be like my MIDI controller for the road, and I remember looking for the email, being like, I swear to God, I got an email about this a few months ago, and I lost it. But so whatever. I'll try. Embodme, if you're watching this, if you're I'm happy to try it out. Send me a new email. Sorry about being sorry about being a fucking douchebag with gigantic gorilla hands and banana fingers. Clumsy oaf. Am I using this DAW because of the Osmos? Yeah. I mean, I think like Bitwig's my second favorite probably. In terms for something like music production. Every DAW is like a different use. That's perfect. I mean, I was just using Cubase today on a laptop to record an ambisonic thing. But yeah. Bitwig's king for MPE stuff, in my opinion. I think it's probably the easiest workflow. Bitwig's also like really good for streaming. Unless I'm like doing piano roll stuff or something, but like just to check out a plugin, it just kind of automatically detects everything. You just usually search it in, whereas FL Studio, I have to go through a few more steps, which is good if I want to stay organized and really precise. But if I'm streaming, not every plugin I have on a stream is going to end up in my go-to plugin menu. I would lose my mind if that were the case. So it's a little shakier. But I'm not a big fan of DAW wars. You know, I'm a big fan of making music. I'm going back to writing firmware while y'all keep playing. Cool, sounds good. What would I recommend for a beginner in music composition? I mean, in terms of VSTs, I mean, really, you it depends what you want to make. If you want to make I mean, I guess just load up on all the freeware ones, and when you run out of when you run out of inspiration with that, then start worrying about spending money. But most things can be done with freeware. But physical modeling is one of those things where there's not a terrible amount of freeware, unfortunately. Let's check out the bass. Why is that still there? I thought I closed that channel. I don't know which one. Oh, this one. Okay, good. need to set my MPE up. I'm gonna have to be a little lower. There we go. Also, do note that I've been not using the vibrato, and I've been only using my hands for vibrato. So it does come with this. Seems like, huh? I bet I could control this with. Sound like an engine. Yeah, I'm gonna stay on it with this. Oh wow. Oh shit! I gotta go back to the cello. I didn't realize that for some reason I completely breezed past these. I'm gonna do a comedy set. Yeah. Let's see if I could switch easily without having to. Probably not. Okay, I don't need to see this again. I always look for the right-click delete in Bidwig when it's just the key. That's not a complaint. It's just a thing I'm used to. All right, yeah, one of my favorite things to do that I used to do with some of the other things is, yeah, the virtuoso mode. So much fun. So you could go like, I wonder if we could get polyphony going here. That'd be kind of funny. Oh yeah, okay, so here's our expression. Oh yeah, you could get deep here. That's good. I mean, I like that because that's one of the things I like about physical modeling is there's like an element to it where it's like not your like if it doesn't sound good, as long as you have an engine that's good enough, it doesn't sound great. It's kind of your own fault, which is like a shitty way of like putting it, but like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, well, you could work on it and really tweak all the things if you want it to sound the way you want it. Although I do not know if I can. Yeah, I don't think I can make this. Maybe I can make polyphonic with another body? I like this hybrid, though. It's like a hybrid between sustain and whatever you want to call that. Okay. So check this out. We will have to delete this plugin and then load in chord something. Chord jam? Damn it. I'm trying to remember the name. Whatever company. You know how I can easily find the name of this plugin? They spam the absolute living shit out of me. Like just literally at any point look in my spam folder and they will be there. There's Divismate, that's one of them. Although we're not going to be using that today because that one's just a little bit too much of a pain in the ass for a stream. Although probably the more professional option, but setting it up is kind of a nightmare. Going through the spam folder. God, there's so much shit in here. Pitch, innovate, yeah, fluid chords, that's the one. Fluid chords, I have unsubscribed to multiple times. Yet you keep going. Never give that company your email address. All right. So yeah, you have your internal synth. Hooray. Am I gonna have to scan all this again? That's annoying. Am I? All right. Great. This will be fun. I have no idea what's going on with the stream chat badges. All I know is that Adam's #1 and I'm okay with that. A lot of #3s, a couple #2s. Oh wait, I see a top fan. Oh, there's XP now. My mom is #14. Wow, Mom. Real nice. You love me the 14th most out of anybody in this chat. Wow. Okay. Let's see if we could find this. I hope this isn't a train wreck. Too many things in life are a train wreck these days. Huh. I don't see it. They have noisy, so I know it's scanning that folder. Well, that's a bummer. What version of noisy is this? This is also an Expressive E thing, by the way. I feel like this is the older version, not the newer one. Yeah, this is a beta. A beta of #1. I don't even know I have that installed. Sorry, I'm really thirsty. It should be, maybe it's not scanned in my VST3 folder. Yeah, it is. All right, scan. Yeah, see, it says noisy 2. It's finding it. It's testing it. Sim racing people. I'm thinking about drones. I've been kind of like in drone world lately. Not flying them, just researching them. All right. Yeah, I guess Noisy's not being validated properly, the newer version. So that would mean that nothing else is. Scan for custom plugin. Okay. Let's take a look at that. This isn't really selling me very well on this software here, on this fluid chords. This is the kind of pain in the ass that makes you annoyed with making music. All right, VST3. Very exciting stream, I realize. As I look through a folder, I should just have like a soccer game or something that plays when I have to do things like this on stream. Or just pornography. That would be cool. That'd go really well with YouTube's content guidelines. All right, I found one. So we're going to try cello. All right, there it is. Now let's see if it actually opens. Weird. Strange that it couldn't find it on its own. Okay, so now we're going to have to open the plugin inside here. Again, I realize this is a pain in the ass, but I swear it's worth it. Okay. Now, what should happen here? It should be playing more than one key. Yeah, I guess this just isn't going to work with this. That's a bummer. Divismate would work with this, but it would be really annoying. So what this plugin does though, it's kind of like a very, very simple version of Divismate. Like if I hook it up with Surge, which is a, as we all know, one of my favorites in the entire world. Yeah, so this is just like your standard MPE. So check this out. And if you want to like make your own chord packs, I guess you could clear all this. So you could learn. Oh, that's not learning very well. Maybe. Well, let's try that now. If you want to make your time longer. Yeah, so Divismate, which I think I only have the demo of because it's pretty expensive. That one we would have to like route it. Do I still have it? I may have uninstalled it. Yeah, I uninstalled it because it installs literally like 20 virtual MIDI devices on your system, so it's just like this nightmare. But oh well. Okay, well, I think we like checked that out, and now we have a new thing to check out as well, which is let's see if it's installed on here already. There we go, Tetrad. This one's weird. I mean, most of this company's stuff is like bonkers. So expect it to be weird. Don't expect it to be normal. Yeah, all right. Oh, you know what? I've never used MPE with this, and now would be a great time to try it out because I'm usually in FL. Oh no, are we talking about vaping? I've got to stop vaping and go to bed. I can't start vaping again, and it's bad. Bad, I tell you. Why are we in demo mode? I have a license key for this. Why are we in demo mode? I know I licensed this already. Buy a license. Unlock demo mode. Oh, fuck off. All right, here we go. You know what happened today to me? You know what happened? I took pictures of it because I was like, ooh, I'm going to get all Karen about this. I have an ambisonic mic. Listen to this fucking... Oh, man. I want... When you make a piece of software, if you're a software developer, when you make a piece of software and when you have noise blasts and forced logins randomly throughout the process of using it, now I have to look up my fucking password for this thing. Let me try one more. Imagine someone streaming it and how it's going to look to everybody else because you've probably just lost every sale that you could have had. Motherfucker. Registration failed. I don't want all of my password chain being published on the internet. All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to look up a password now. Or, I don't know, maybe just not even fuck with it. Like, maybe just be done with it. Stuff like this drives me absolutely nuts. So yeah, I was field recording. Bought this app that can record multi-channel USB. It's literally the only purpose of it. It records multi-channel USB. And then plug my ambisonic mic in, and then it needs me to buy fucking DLC to record multi-channel USB. And I was just like, oh no, like you're not actually doing this to me, are you? And I ended up having to make 2 microtransactions to do the thing that the software wanted me to do in the first place. And I had to connect to the internet every time I loaded it for field recording. Man, I almost lost it. All right. Look at this. Look at this. I just got my password. I want you to see this, everybody. I've reached the maximum number of activations. Do you know why this is happening? This is happening because I bet because I activated it in FL Studio and now I'm activating it in another DAW. I bet it's like per instance, not per computer. Because I definitely don't have this on another computer. Wow. So after finding the password, resetting it, all that shit, I can't have it on 2 DAWs at once. You know where I go at times like this? I'm not going to reinstall it now, but I go to a piracy website because, yep, cool. I will download a torrent so I could continue checking this out if I want to. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So anyway, you can get it that way. I really wanted to check this out too. I guess I could in FL Studio if I really wanted to. Let's do that. I actually want to see if the licensing still works in FL Studio, but what a fucking disaster. Like, people use different DAWs. Like, yeah, paying for shit and then it only works in one DAW? What kind of shit is that? Maybe that's not even the case. I don't know. Maybe it just thinks that maybe somebody hacked into my account and licensed it elsewhere. I have no idea. All right, let's load it in FL, and here we are, new dot. Nope, it's still in demo mode. What a nightmare. Cool, I'll do this again. Here, everybody can see my email. I'm actually getting rid of this address anyway because it's been abused by spam. Nope, didn't go in the password field. It was a lot of fun. All right. Well, it does not say that on the website, so. Cool. All right, well, fuck this. Thanks, Physical Audio, really good stuff. Thanks for wasting fucking 20 minutes of my stream time on that. Speaking of Jay Nornak. Sorry about that. I went to Tim Cook there. Speaking of Jay Nornak, let's open up Steam and play with MIDI news. I need to update it. I've been meaning to do that anyway. That was going to be a stream this week. Sorry, gotta deal with all the Steam sounds. I'm trying to see the chat here. There we go. Hey Ben, your new album is a jazz. One question rather. Your new album is a jazz album? I don't know if you think it is. If you say it's a jazz album, that's a jazz album. It is in the eye of the beholder. Make sure I use the beta code to activate the new features. All right. I actually don't see it right now. I will search for it. Steam is like really well organized as long as you don't have more than like 4 things. Properties, installed files, betas. All right, I know you sent me a beta code. The worst part is that I don't have my screen sharing because I don't want to dox everyone, but I will find it somewhere in Discord. I have about 170. I think I did this on my laptop, but not here. 170 notifications. I'm opting into beta, Jay. We're doing it. Starting download, updating. 0 bytes of 75.32 megabytes. I guess we could share this. Wild, fun stream while we're waiting for this to happen. Anybody played this? Like bought it just out of nowhere. Just like, oh, this looks fun. One of those things I'm never going to open. Oh, a lot of dumb updates being queued. What is updating right now? Rocket League is updating right now. That's great. It's like the one thing I wanted to update. It's not updating. There we go. Yes. Content servers unreachable. All right, so what are we going to do for the rest of this stream? Can we actually update this? Content unavailable. No idea. Yeah, what do we think we have? Like, I mean, obviously, if I'm streaming, my internet connection's working great, but maybe I'll just answer questions. This will just lead to me running for president. All right. I don't even know how many people are watching this. The stream's been kind of a shit show, isn't it? Should get some games going on the Discord. We have a Minecraft server. I don't know how many people are still playing it, but let me know if nobody's playing it, and I'll stop paying for it happily. Not that it's that expensive. I see Universe Sim. Check out Space Engine. Yeah, Universe Sim could be fun. I don't think it's very accurate, but you know, that would be kind of fucking weird if it was. I could try changing the download location. Yeah, I could. Yeah, this Steam library is like a lifetime of Steam library. I also used to have Humble Bundle for like 2 years, 3 years. I had that subscription, so like randomly a bunch of shit that I didn't buy ends up in there. How many hours in Factorio? Not a lot, not enough. Probably only like 20. Ben, do you think there should be a social media platform with no bots or AI allowed, walled garden style? You need KYC sign up. Okay, that's a good question. That's actually, I mean, yes, obviously. I think there should be an AI. I mean, I think there should be like a social media platform that just says no to AI. Like, nope, we're a social media platform, so we want people in it, not bots. Pretty radical concept there, right? You know, so here's my thing with social media, because I thought about this a lot after the Cambridge Analytica thing, especially when this is one of the biggest questions I got after making my video about bots was what's the deal with you know, what should we do? Like one funny thing is when I make a video that kind of highlights a problem, something that I always think to myself is like, maybe don't bitch about it unless you have a recommendation for a solution, or unless you have some good news or something like that. Like, don't just bitch on the internet. So that's like one of my mantras that I've been not following that well, because I don't have a solution for the problems with capitalism turning into feudalism. I don't have a solution for, you know, that like I would be arrogant to even try to have a solution for these things. So, so yeah, with social media thing, one thing that I thought of that I would really like is like, let's just say you took something that existed very locally, regionally in America, and one of those things would be a library, or maybe like even something like a Legion Hall, like something where it's just kind of a community staple. And then what if you segregated different subnets of a social media network to those locations? So almost like school districts, and the algorithm would be programmed to prioritize your distance to your nearest server. I guess you call it a server. The server could be in India for all it doesn't matter. But yeah, the algorithm would prioritize people who are closer to you rather than you know, other things. That would be the number one priority. And then after that, it would be like, you know, if you don't care about fishing, you're not going to hear that much about fishing. So it would work for people, but it would work for people in a way where you don't have there's somebody on, I haven't seen him in a very long time because I quit using X when I made that video, but there's someone who was like a synth nerd who lived in Poland, who very far right, very into Trump, very anti-wokeness, anti-blah, blah. And this person was like a frenemy, I guess, and fucking interacted with everything I posted. Anytime I posted about anything that was even remotely had to do with anything political, anything even personal, this person would always just annoy the shit out of me. And it really makes you think, like, this person's never been to America. So first of all, like, who, why do they have any stake in this whatsoever? But like, this person lives in rural Poland. Why the fuck are they arguing with an American about American politics? And that kind of highlights the overall bigger issue, because, one of the like classic, a certain sect of libertarianism believes that like all states should be almost entirely their own nation. And that's because our country, and I don't believe this necessarily, but that's because our country is too big. Like, why would you want somebody who lives in a housing project in Brooklyn to be voting for the same person that a cattle rancher in Texas votes for? Like, that's kind of ridiculous, and that probably leads to the intense polarization that we have in America. But I can tell you, my argument to that is that the cattle rancher in Texas makes the beef that the person in the housing project eats, and the person in the housing project, may go to school and create a fucking drone that will spray the cattle rancher's fields from a type of fungus that would not be able to feed the cow, whatever, might poison the cows. So these two things do work together. There's a very good reason, due to the distance apart, why they're so ideologically different. So social media is like taking that sort of atmosphere and just pumping it full of steroids. Like, because now you have you have a level of anonymity where, yeah, I mean, you just don't really have the same stakes that goes into having like an argument in person or in voting or things like that. So my idea, or my answer to that, sorry about the long-winded answer to this question. My answer to that, like, if I were to if I had to like start a social media site, it would prioritize localization, because those are things that actually make a little bit more sense. And I do think that when if you put a far right-wing person in a car with me every day for a week, we would probably actually, they would probably come a little bit closer to my side as a result. I'm not saying I would go closer on their side, but that's because I tend to talk a lot and try and be as persuasive as possible. But I'm sure I would a little bit. But you get to understand the human element of why somebody believes something else, and therefore you're less likely to, to just start shooting at them if you go crazy or something. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes, it makes discourse more valuable. So that's what I would do with social media. Another thing I would do with social media, that I think it's ridiculous that we have companies that I think it's ridiculous that we use something like Facebook or X. I understand why we use YouTube, but like I think it's ridiculous that we use these things for just text posts and not a decentralized network. It doesn't have to be blockchain. It doesn't have to be crypto oriented. We've got to hope it isn't, but we can do all this stuff, through peer to peer. And so it is a social media network. So you would think that there should be some sort of system at play that is completely decentralized, that doesn't have a CEO, that doesn't have ads, that doesn't have an algorithm that tries to drive you towards those ads or tries to make you more divisive so you keep using it, because that's what is happening on all these social media sites. So, and you could look at, like, if you look at my top posts on Blue Sky, I think my top posts on Threads, which is Instagram Meta's new social. My top post there is like just mean things, me saying things about Elon, me making fun of Elon Musk, me pointing out something that's wrong with politics, pointing out something that's wrong with something. Those are my big posts. On Blue Sky, my number one posts are astrophotography pictures. When I posted about my album, my last album, I had an album come out 2 days ago on Spotify, but 2 weeks ago on Bandcamp. I posted the announcement of that album on like Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky. Blue Sky, straight to the top. Just, some of my most liked content. On Threads, buried because it linked away, because it linked off site. And also it's not people don't respond to it. People don't say fuck you for having a new album. So like, yeah, I mean, people just click it and go away from the website, and so therefore it's de-incentivized. So the fact that it's centralized in the first place, the fact that it needs to make money, or like I use Signal as my messaging app. Signal has something like 12 employees, like this massive messaging app that's used all around the world. They have something like 12 employees because they don't have to make a profit because it's a nonprofit. They don't have to worry about ads or tracking or any of that shit. It's just a very safe, encrypted, sleek messaging platform. You know, so I think social media should operate more like that. All right, sorry. ActivityPub Mastodon. Yeah, I mean, Mastodon's. I'm so on it. I kind of thought that I kind of wish that like Blue Sky. I really wish we just had an aggregator, like a decentralized aggregator for everything. But I could see why sites wouldn't want to participate in that, because what I end up doing is copying and pasting things across platforms. It would be nice to just have one, and you know. But I guess that is kind of what my point with Mastodon. That is kind of what Mastodon's trying to do. Yeah, yeah. Collins would be fun. And maybe I could start like a debate, like a Destiny style debate stream. I promise I won't do that. Next time you release music, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you for releasing music." I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. People are now. Yeah, the Mastodon. Can you run it on a potato? Can you? Sorry, that's like a way too literal thing I just said. Can you run it on a slow machine? Because when I first signed up for Mastodon, the first thing I thought of, like the first thing I wanted to do was get my own host for the Discord, right? Because like my big thing, I mean, I've probably been less vocal about it now, but like for a long time, my big thing was like, I wanted to get people off Twitter. I want to get people off Spotify, and people will leave these platforms. And not everybody, but a lot of people will leave these platforms if you just give them somewhere else to go. If you just say, let's hang out here instead, they're like, all right, yeah, fuck this place. I hate it. Same with Spotify. Like I probably talked so many people into like moving over to Qobuz just because, you know, just because it's there. Because it's like, yeah, it's way sleeker. The algorithm, in my opinion, is better. It recommends musical. It doesn't like take me away from people's albums. You could buy things if you want to keep them. It pays way more royalties. Yeah, and like a lot of people are like, okay, and then they cancel their Spotify and go over to Qobuz just because they don't want to have to research it. And so like, yeah, that was the thing with Mastodon. It's like if I could have my own server, or if I could just have the server that I lease for other things to also host my Mastodon and like the Discord community, this community Mastodon accounts, that'd be great. But at the time, it was either really expensive or just you were kind of recommended to not do it because it was like too complicated and costly. And I don't know why. I have no idea. Maybe there is a lot more bandwidth used than we think it is. Yeah, so I bet it's the bandwidth thing. I bet that's what it is. I bet it's just a bandwidth issue. That makes sense. Because yeah, I wouldn't need like a powerful host, but it probably would get pinged a lot, especially Mastodon hosts video, doesn't it? I know they host images, but yeah, once you start hosting video, that's when the decentralized idea goes out the window. It gets a little bit too complicated then, or too difficult. I think you could do it if you have IPFS, but then you're asking people to literally make file systems, like partitions and file systems just for sharing, which is a big ask if it's just somebody's iPhone or something. Not that an iPhone would ever allow something like that. I guarantee you the culture war social media goons will try to invade any platform that users went to. Yeah, totally. That's such a thing that I've noticed on even threads is like the bullies just come over because they're like, oh, there's people who aren't on X here who are more left minded or more, you know, not right wing minded. So We don't want to use the internet unless we have somebody to bully. They come over there. Then Blue Sky, I've seen it a little bit on Blue Sky, where people like come over. One thing that I always see is people coming over to Blue Sky and saying like, you fucking idiots over here on Pedo Sky. Like they call it that, which is just like the most clever thing you've ever heard. But also like why are you here? If you call it that, why would you join it? You fucking weirdo. I'm actually not in the camp that just calls everything a pedophile that I don't like. And I'm just using a social media platform. But here you have this accusation set where everybody on this website's a pedophile, and now you've created an account, you fucking alien. There are only tiny videos on Mastodon. Yeah, with the PeerTube. Ben, if you set your stream account to go online, you'll get the update. Oh, Steam account. Oh, really? That's ridiculous if that's the case. So I have to go online? Oh, all right. See, I need a secret Steam account. Although I can't like transfer all my games over, so it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I can't be invisible on Steam while getting updates. All right, we're trying now. We're trying. Thing is, Twitter was a place for marginalized communities when it first was popular, specifically to the black community. Yeah, absolutely. Vine was too, in a big way. Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of funny too because you could see the pendulum swing. Like I would say, at risk of being yelled at by everybody in the world, I I would say that in the beginning of Twitter, well, not in the beginning, but maybe in like 2012 to well, maybe up until like 2018, it was kind of insufferable. Like it was a little bit too far left. I don't even know if left is a word. I don't like thinking of things that way. It was people too cancelly, too annoying. Like I remember reading so many like huge threads that would come on my timeline about. Remember Maynard from Tool? They're like trying to cancel Maynard over some nonsense that wasn't even legitimate. And it was just kind of that, like people just sort of tried to create controversy on that new cancel thing as a sport, and they just tried to one up each other, and it just kind of got out of hand. And in a weird way, I feel like in 2016, when that kind of reached its height, Trump, for a lot of people, Donald Trump was like the solution to that. Like the guy who and I think that's one of the reasons why he never really got canceled is because he's always been kind of the anti-canceled guy to a lot of people. Like the guy who just doesn't deal with that shit, and a lot of people just don't want to deal with that shit. And a lot of people, like, you could argue that like it's an accountability thing, and I do think it is, but you're never going to believe this, but a lot of people don't want to be held accountable for the shitty things they did, which sucks, but fair enough too. It's understandable why a lot of people wouldn't want to be. I don't know. I'm like opening up my own can of worms here because like at the same time, it's like I kind of don't care if like a 60-year-old man wore blackface in high school to a party. Like I just kind of like I think that I think that people should be allowed to evolve at some degree. And sorry, I'm like riffing on something Jay said. And for the record, Jay's like very progressively minded in terms of forgiveness and for shitty things in the past. Not that I've done anything terrible to Jay, but they're very, yeah. I think everybody in this chat's pretty damn reasonable. For me personally, Twitter swiftly ceased to exist when they disabled the API for third-party clients. Yep. Yeah, that sucked. Sorry about the stream, by the way, just to let you know what's going on. I'm just watching things slowly update and crash out of updating. Looks like I still can't do it, unfortunately, Jay. And I think I am visible now. Yeah, I'm online. We don't have a Satisfactory server, do we? I don't think I've played Satisfactory. I mean, I'm happy. By the way, just for anybody who's a member of the Discord community, fuck you. No, if anybody's a member of the Discord community and you're sick of Minecraft, you want to play a new game, let me know. I'll virtually any game server you want, I will set up. Or if I don't know how to set up, I will just send somebody account details and tell them to set it up. And then I will just wish I could play. You know what I really am excited to play that has no place on the Discord? The Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. It's getting re-released next week. I've been waiting like all year for that. It's one of my favorite games to just chill out to for 30 minutes before going to bed. Jay says, I am a flaming leftist trans atheist. You bet your ass I'm progressive, but I ain't no liberal. Well, Jay, you're forgiving, though. I won't go into details, but yeah, I mean, I think that, like, I think that's a different, like, I think, I guess what I mean by progressive, I mean somebody who's looking forward, who you know, understands that looking forward and being open-minded is often the way to resolve problems. I wish Steam was more progressive. I wish Steam could look forward to, yeah, the content servers are unreachable on Steam right now. Benn best vape flavor, Huntsman from Heather's Heavenly Vapes, which went out of business in like 2018. So good luck. That was the best vape flavor. It tasted like a gentle tobacco and maple syrup, and it was wonderful. It was so good. Like me and my friends used to like talk about it, about like, oh man, I wish we could have some like Huntsman coffee, something like other things. Wish Huntsman came as a fruit. That would be really good. Yeah, Huntsman was awesome. And Heather from Heather's Heavenly Vapes, is actually from Noonan, Georgia, and so it's just south of here. And she was one of the first people to buy like premium tobacco leaves and then like put the shit in a pressure cooker and get the extract and then mix that into vape flavors. And so yeah, they had a lot of vape flavors that like legit tasted like cigars, which I'm not at all into. But yeah, it was unique. It wasn't just like food flavors. It wasn't just like, you know, root beer. It was you know, raspberries. It was most of their flavors were like very original, like that you would not be able to taste anything like it. And a lot of companies, I feel, tried to, at that time, there was just like one tobacco flavor that every other company was using. So, oh, we're starting to update things on and off on this. Kettle missed the vape talk. Everything's bad time. Yeah, the worst timing for anybody on this stream, or the worst luck for anybody, is physical audio, because they just, yeah, I have a license for the software and I can't use software that's already registered on this machine, and great. Yeah, I don't know how much more vape talk we could really do, other than like, I like this flavor, I don't like this flavor. Kettle had some pear vape. Oh, you didn't just change your cart entirely? If I hated a flavor, I'd just change my cart. I wouldn't even have patience to like suck away the flavor I didn't like. Why do you guys like illicit substances so much? Is that illicit? I don't know. I feel like vaping for me is like, I don't even care if it has nicotine. Vaping for me is just like a distraction, and it's a vice that is probably the least harmful of vices that I could have. And I say this as somebody who like recreationally vaped while literally competing in MMA, like literally like being a sanctioned athlete. It really didn't do anything to my cardio. That doesn't mean that it's good for you. It's not. I can guarantee you it's bad for you. But the way that I put it, when like vaping, for one thing, like if I don't vape, my appetite goes up and I just want to like eat garbage more. I just want to eat chips and shit. And vaping is just like a great way to not do that. And so like for me, if I were to directly place it against its nearest vice that I would be more susceptible to if I didn't vape, or if I didn't have a vape nearby, yeah, that would just be like garbage food. And I do think that eating a bunch of garbage snacks is probably much worse for me than vaping. That's how I put it. Data broth. I read recently vapes have lead in the smoke. You know what? I remember a long time ago, one of the first big vaping studies. I remember like reading like, holy shit, they have tons of terrible things in them, and I was like really, yeah, I was really freaked out by it. So it turns out that whoever did I think it was the FDA, the official like first big vaping study, they bought a bunch of vapes from like gas stations, and they like had a machine suck on them for like 5 minutes straight. So the cartomizer burned out entirely. And at this point, it's like burning the Canthal wire inside that heats up. And maybe even the battery. I mean, it's literally like burning the paint off of the vape pen and then testing that air as if someone's going to be sucking on the thing that long. And then, of course, they found like lead and all these crazy things in the smoke. And it's like, well, yeah, but fortunately, nobody just tokes on a vape for 5 minutes straight without stopping. Microdosing is the only other thing I do. 2 years without alcohol. I do miss pub nights. Yeah. I mean, I've microdosed before. I don't do that often. That's a regular dose. I don't regular dose that often either, but I feel like I would just do that. And then I don't really miss a pub. but about every night I drink an old fashioned, a stiff old fashioned. That's like I have one drink every night, typically, unless I'm out of town or something. I struggle to get out of bed at all if I start vaping. Like, are you talking about weed? Are you talking about just flavors? Like, I kind of hope you're talking about just flavors, because I like the idea that like whatever flavor you have, you're like, I am not getting out of bed today. This fucking, peanut butter cookie flavor is like so good I can't go to work. You got kids like wanting to eat breakfast. You're like, I can't. This is I got 3 milligrams of nicotine running through my veins. Really? Nicotine keeps you in bed. Interesting. I do like a morning vape. Like coffee and vape. Like I just feel like it's one of those like you just the first things you do before you open the email. It's easy to overdose nicotine with vapes. Is it? I guess maybe if you're making your own juice or something. Or if you like mix up your tank with a shot glass. You just start vaping vodka and taking shots of your nicotine juice. My mom wants me to make her an old fashioned. Yeah, I mean, I don't make a real one. I mean, whatever. It's about as close as you can within reason. I'm not gonna like do a Tom Cruise cocktail type thing where I'm running around the bar and burning orange peels and shit. I just use bourbon, and I just have a little scale. I do bourbon, then there's literally old fashioned mix, and then like blood orange and blood cherry. But I don't even use the orange. I just use the cherry juice. And then put a little milk froth mixer in there just to mix it up real fast. Dump some ice in there. Whole thing's about 2.5 ounces. Vaping vodka. God, that would be terrible. Or does it inhale? You get sweaty and nauseous. Yeah, I don't think, I think if I literally vaped all day, like if just all day, if I like had an oxygen mask with my vape juices, vaping in it, I don't think I would even feel the nicotine. Like it's so low that I don't. The only time I feel it, and this is a real thing, the only way I feel it is it makes me dream more vividly. If I'm like vaping right before bed, I will remember dreams, which is a thing. Like when people wear nicotine patches, like there's warnings on the back where it's like you may have vivid nightmares, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's actually like a pretty I feel like that's a better and more interesting effect than what nicotine patches are made for. Like it's so much cooler to have a drug that makes you dream than it is to have a drug that like helps you quit smoking. You know, not that like, you know, everybody should quit smoking, but it's pretty rad to just have like a dream drug. I wonder if it's disrupting your sleep and that's why you remember them. God, I read about this before because I thought it was like a really interesting. I was just like so blown away by the idea of it. But no, I don't remember why. But I don't think it has anything to do with you being an REM or something like that. I think, oh, you know what I bet it has to do with? So nicotine increases dopamine. No, I think what nicotine does is it increases the reception of dopamine. So essentially, like your dopamine reuptake opens up, and that's why it's so addictive, right? Is because like your reward center goes off when you smoke a cigarette or when you have nicotine. And that part of your brain is also very closely associated to memory allocation. Sounds like I'm talking about a computer, but that part of your brain, yeah, supposedly nicotine does help with your memory. So that would probably be why. I could be, I'm, 50% chance I'm wrong, maybe even higher than that, but that would be my best guess. Is it, not the sleep disruption, but it's actually your memory storage is tweaked and better when you're on nicotine. Yeah. By the way, just to when I'm reading some of these comments, just to make sure that I'm very clear here, I don't advocate anybody using nicotine. I do think it's stupid. I place it somewhere with like riding a motorcycle, vaping. Like I put the two about like it's kind of like it's a thing that you could do that probably is terrible for you, but is not as bad for you as other things. I think if you are getting along just fine without vaping or using nicotine in any way, good for you. No reason to start. And I feel like most people who do vape or use nicotine, they have at some other point in their life, and they're just like returning to that because it helps them do something or other. Yeah, I don't advocate. Just so you know, that's why I don't do it on this. That's why I don't do it on stream, or really do it on videos or anywhere public where if I'm standing outside of a conference or something. I generally don't want people to, somebody watch my channel and then see me doing it and then be like, maybe that's a good idea. Like I that's not, yeah, I do think it's a stupid thing. Yeah, the nootropic vaping shit, man. So many of those companies hit me up asking me to do ad reads for them. It's a big ad read thing now. Yeah, I don't even respond. I don't even read the whole email. It's dumb as hell. Or people vaping vitamins. It's like, God, it doesn't work that way, man. You can't just put all your ways to all your drug delivery methods on a 21-sided die and throw it and then just pick one. Like different things work different ways. Different things give you cancer when you take them certain ways. Yeah, it's weird. I'm about to buy a thing called NeuroSim to calming. Interesting to try the vagus nerve stimulation tech. I don't know anything about that. One of my favorite Mark Twain passages was the one where he advocated having a few vices so you'd have something to stop doing when you were sick to make you feel better. Huh, that can make sense. I also feel like, a lot of people who like, I don't know what I'm holding, by the way. It's not a cigarette, I promise. It's not vape, has nothing to do with vaping. Part of it's a pen, but it has like a string. I think it might be an antenna. Anyway, oh, yeah. I mean, you notice like people who are in AA, they end up smoking more often or vaping. It's like almost like a thing. Like you join AA and you start vaping or smoking, or NA. And then coffee. That's like a big one. Like for people in recovery, like they end up just drinking a lot of coffee and getting really addicted to coffee. And coffee's like a whole ritual too. Like if you like, I'm a big coffee person. And I mean, I legitimately have more coffee stuff than I have food stuff in my kitchen. Like I have this whole, what are we doing? A pour over tonight? What kind of pour over? I have like kinds that go on top of the mug. I have kinds that, the Chemex. Then I have like, other fake Chemexes that are sometimes better than real Chemexes with certain beans, and all of that's probably nonsense. It's probably just all my imagination, but it's fun and it seems like a vice. Love coffee. I need coffee. In Florida, I couldn't find coffee. I like drinking coffee after dinner. I drink coffee in the morning, but I like drinking coffee after dinner too. That's like my favorite coffee time. Literally right here. Just had a cup before starting the stream. And that's like my ritual, right? And so in Florida, I usually can find, in America, you can find coffee anywhere, right? Especially if you're traveling around, like on the road, like every gas station is a coffee machine. It's not, you can't find good coffee everywhere, but you're always not far from McDonald's. However, in Florida, for one reason or another, I just couldn't find coffee. And also like on the islands, in Florida and like those types of areas, like the businesses are all kind of like beachy businesses, so it's either like a bar or like a ice cream shop or a hotel, and then a lot of the other businesses close super early. So anyway, I couldn't have coffee, and it was kind of funny because I thought I was going to be really tired, but I just had a headache. I just had like a headache constantly. I think just because of caffeine withdrawal or something. Yeah, I do not have a French press. That's like the one coffee machine I don't have. I know how to use one. I've used one plenty. I'm not a huge fan. Here in Ireland, there's an epidemic of HHC vapes. It's a semi-synthetic cannabinoid that gets around the drug laws. Interested to see how they compare to regular nicotine vapes. Huh. I mean, we have that here. So in Georgia, we have a lot of weed shops all over the place. Delta 8. And Delta 10 and Delta 13, just Deltas all over the place. And then like CBD-B, CBD, all these different degrees. And really though, what's happening, and this isn't speculatory, this is like I know people in this industry. Really what's happening is you're just buying weed and it's labeled as Delta 8. Because like when you think about it, you have to do something like I think it's a carbon isotope ratio test to find the difference between these cannabinoids. To find like, if something's like Delta 8, if it's it's a different type of plant, it's a slightly different strain. But to actually, once it gets brought down into like vape juice, to actually figure out which plant strain it came from, you have to like spend like 15 to 20 grand on a lab test to do this. And no police department has the money to be doing this every single time they see a vape pen. And most people don't understand that if they get, at least in Georgia, because Delta 8 is illegal in certain places. In Georgia, if a cop says what's in there, and if you say Delta 8, no matter what it is, they're almost certainly just going to let it go because they're not going to take it back because the prosecutor's not going to want to pay, not going to want to put that kind of money into a simple weed pen or something. So anyway, But what ends up happening is in these stores, you go into the shops and they say Delta 8, Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 12. It's all just Delta 9, which is what normal marijuana is. And they just label it differently because, like, when you think about it, nobody's setting up a separate grow lab for this weird strain that's legal right now, but may not be, that doesn't work as well as, that might be less powerful or whatever. They're just taking shake weed, making vape juice out of it, and then labeling it Delta 8. And so effectively, the good news about all this is that, like, effectively, right now, as soon as this stream's over, I could take off my headphones and walk down my mountain and go buy weed legally without any issues. Like, just buy a vape pen. There's shops all over the place. So if you're ever in Georgia and you're from Denver and you're a burnout and a loser and you can't do anything without weed, do know that you can buy it just as easily. Weed is legal for recreational use in Georgia. Delta 8 it's not legal, but in the county I live in, for example, at least the last time I read, they weren't even doing possession arrests anymore. Like, it was just kind of, the sheriff at that point was just like, don't. It's not worth it. We don't have enough room in the jail. Don't do it. Very interesting. A lot of the THC carts sold legally. I don't know if you meant to type TCH or whatever. Sold illegally. Test to contain K2 or spice. I wonder what the testing difference between the spice and HA. Yeah, I remember spice being nasty. We didn't have too much of it here, but I remember it being like a big deal in the UK. Sorry, reading some other ones. Try AeroPress, pretty affordable, rather hard to mess up. If I had this life hack that I forgot. The worst thing is when you come up with like when you discover something that like you can't find anywhere else, and you're all proud, and then you forget. With an AeroPress, I had a metal filter and a paper filter, and I ground some coffee up with a hand grinder, really, really fine. And some way around that AeroPress, I put both filters in, and I'm assuming the coffee was between the filters or on top of the filters, whatever it was. And then I used all my might to squeeze, because obviously if you have two filters, the pressure gets way higher. And I used all my might to squeeze down the AeroPress into a mug without breaking the mug. And I had amazing espresso with really thick crema on top. Like, it was like a $50,000 espresso machine. It was delicious. It wasn't that acidic. It was smooth. And I remember doing that like every day on some tour years ago. And then I forgot. I forgot the algorithm. I tried so many other times, and I never was able to get that back. I don't remember what exact filter I used or whatever it was, but yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, coffee's amazing. And AeroPress is I don't know how I feel. Honestly, when somebody wants to like go to the next level with coffee, I always tell them to just get a Chemex, because it's like, I feel like Chemex is less work than AeroPress, realistically, or just a pour over on the mug. That's probably the least amount of work that you could put into making a cup of coffee if you're grinding them, right? Like, obviously folders in a machine or something is probably the easiest, but if you're grinding your beans, if you grind them directly into the filter, and then you just put that on top of one of those pour over things that just goes on top of your mug, and you just pour the water on there. It starts blooming a bit, it gets bigger, it like grows. You let it bloom for 15, 20 seconds, then you pour the rest of it on. That's a delicious cup of coffee, and it's better than any machine you ever try. In my opinion, it beats AeroPress 9 times out of 10. And it's just so easy and so cheap. You're talking like $10 worth of material. Like, it's so, it's one of the best ways. But Chemex is there. I should just get a browser window so I could show people what I'm talking about. I'm gonna get everybody addicted to really, really obnoxious coffee. Get everybody into a huge coffee snob thing. All right, let me show you what a Chemex looks like. If I can open up a window. All right, Chrome. There we go. All right. Go back to my stream here. Nope. Whatever. Okay, you could see that. All right. So yeah, Chemex, it's the reason I wanted to show you an image, I'm sure most people know what they are. The reason I wanted to show you an image of this. So the patented thing about a Chemex that you'll notice other pour over devices don't have is this little tube here on the edge. So when you're making it, you put a filter up. Can you see my mouse? Yeah. So when you're making it, you put a little filter like up here, and that the filters are usually square, and you just sort of fold them in, and you put them in right here, and then through here. This is if you do it right, and if you just it takes a little bit of practice, but if you get it in right and it's sealed, then this tube here on the outside, that's where the air transfers, and it's because as the water goes in down here, the air has to leave somewhere. And other pour over machines and other pour over devices, they don't have that like air tube, so things kind of bubble up and come out from the top. As they say, the rumor of the invention of the Chemex is in like the 1950s or 60s when the coffee machines first started coming out. They were really expensive. Like an automatic coffee machine was something that like upper middle class and up could only have because it was kind of a lofty thing. People didn't really you made instant coffee or you went to a restaurant or a diner or something like that. And so Chemex came out, and they're like, right, you can make coffee in your kitchen for as little as $3 or however much they cost at the time. And it was this kind of like ghetto way of making coffee at home. Turns out it's one of the most chemically efficient ways of making coffee. Not only that, but you have tons of control. You have an enormous amount of control over your brew. You could make it you could look down at it coming out, and you could decide, oh, I better pour the water a little bit faster. It's coming out a little bit too rich. And the thing about it, another thing that you should know is whatever you usually grind your beans at, you want to grind your own beans with Chemex, or you want to have a cafe grind them for you. You don't want to just put Folgers in there because they're way, way too thin. You want to have about as thick of a grind as most grinders have a setting for. Otherwise, you're just going to have a Turkish coffee, or you could even break through the filter. But yeah, the great thing about Chemex too is like it really gets rid of a lot of the acids of coffee that's maybe burned, like beans that are burned a bit too much. Damn, $50. I feel like the last time I bought a Chemex, it was so you'll probably find other pour overs here. Actually, oh, this is the big Chemex. They have smaller ones. I just have the little guy. So $116 for that. Yeah, okay, so they have like the cheaper ones. And these are good. These are fine. Like if you want to get started, but you'll notice that they don't have the patent. So they don't have the tube. So they come up with these other methods of like, oh, okay, we'll make the if I can zoom in here. We'll make this like a little bit thinner than it needs to be. That way, all the air can just come out this top thing, and they don't have to have that tube that would violate the Chemex patent. But I think I actually have this exact thing, and it's fine. It's a Chemex is like a 10, and that's a 9. Like you could do a lot. Oh, okay, here we go. Here's one that's literally you have no excuse now not to buy one of these. This one's literally just ripping off the Chemex patent. I mean, how long would you wait? No, this is different. Where does it show it pouring from? It doesn't, does it? Oh no. Yeah, I think this is ripping off the Chemex patent. Yeah. Yeah, this is a clone. Shit. Still $30 though. How much is the 14 ounce? I never make more than like 4 cups, all for my giant mug. Here we go. We got a $20 Chemex ripping off pour over, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't see it. I thought I did, but but a good grinder is kind of tied with a good grinder. I think you mean like a good cup of coffee, or whatever. Um, what is the? I'm trying to think how much I paid for my grinder. I don't really have. I don't really have a super expensive grinder. I've always been fine with whatever I have. I don't know. I feel like every grinder has its own. So I'm confused who's being choked, but there must have been like some sort of weird graphic in one of these. Yeah, I have a coffee machine. I do have a really nice coffee machine. Well, it's actually kind of a piece of shit, but um, it's like really it's expensive. It was like $250, and it's like literally made out of like the cheapest plastic, but somehow, some way, it makes really good coffee. It's just like it annoys me to use it every time, just because I'm like this thing probably is like $5 in parts and $195 in intellectual property. Ah, there you go. I think I got my grinder as a Christmas gift. It was just over $100, but you could get a hand grinder if you want to be cool. Check these out. $15, $16. Sorry. Yeah. These are as long as you get a Burr hand grinder, god damn, they like a $75 one. Don't get that. As long as you get a Burr hand grinder, like just make sure it's Burr. Like this is a Burr grinder. Any hand grinder should be a Burr grinder. It would be weird to have blades in a hand grinder, but yeah, manual hand grinder. So yeah, I mean, it just basically grinds them up in these little burrs, and these things are incredibly accurate. We were in when we were in where the hell were we? Oh, Okefenokee Swamp. Cameron and I are both coffee snobs, and we brought this like whole coffee, a little coffee stuff, but we had the hand grinder, and I was so tired of doing it, and I had a drill. I had a little like cordless screwdriver for a bunch of astrophotography stuff, so I just sort of like rigged it up to like on that hand grinder. But yeah, those things work incredibly well, but you do get tired of doing it every day. Yeah, I do have my grinder's a Burr, but I think it was a cheap one. King grinder. I don't know why I'm only searching on Amazon here, but okay, yeah, that's what you're talking. I'm just literally looking at it. Man, if I had to hand grind every time though, I would never make it on stream. I'd tap out every time. So there's always like that like 6:30 where I'm like trying to get shit like done before I head over to the studio to start a stream, and the coffee's always like a race. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of these products don't exist outside of Amazon, unfortunately. It's it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about giving people somewhere to go after X, or giving people somewhere to go after Spotify, and like Amazon. I was thinking about that with Amazon. Like, I want to get rid of my Amazon account. I just don't know how. I just have no idea. Also, I'm not doxing myself. This is not where I live. I mean, it's not far from where I live, but it's more than a walking distance. Uh, that's just like, I don't know where that is. It's I feel like it should be locating me a little closer than that, but whatever. Anyway, I've already been doxxed. People literally have sent me pictures, like Google images of my address here, of the road outside my house, which is hilarious. I I should try and find the post for you. Somebody did on Threads, um, because I was talking about my grandfather cutting the ring off of Nazi soldiers, and so of course Nazis got modern day Nazis got angry about it and threatened me. Yeah, and they sent me literally they were thread posting at me screenshots of Google Maps in front of my property, which and I just retweeted them or reposted them because it's like it like let me explain to you what my property looks like from the road. A bunch of woods and this like creepy ass road, like half half paved road that goes up a steep hill, and then up on top you can't see it because of all the trees and woodiness, but you could tell that up on top there's probably a building, and it's just the perfect little sniper's nest. And it's like gated too, so it's just like, dude, come on over. Like, really, it's kind of delusional. Um, yeah, I mean, is it my old house? I was a little bit more worried about it because it was like in a cul-de-sac, and it was just one of those things where I don't know. I had neighbors. I had neighbors who in that house. My next door neighbors were. It was a house with like 25 Salvadorans living in it. And that's the best thing in the world if you're worried about getting somebody harassing you, because there's somebody always outside in the driveway, always somebody sitting out chilling. And they were great neighbors. I mean, I loved it. I actually kind of miss it because it was like you just had a security person. Like anytime like a package would come and they didn't know what the address was, or they would just sign for it and then bring it over. Anytime I'd be carrying a bunch of shit out of my car, they'd come over and help. It was like the best neighbors. Loved them. But the neighbors I have, the one of my neighbors now, I'm not going to mention him by name, but he's hardcore. He acts like the mountain that we're on. He's kind of on the other side of it. He acts like it's like this, like it's I don't know, like we're protecting it from armies that are trying to get on it or something. Which is great. I mean, again, it's like one of those things where it's like if you tried to break into my studio or something when I was out of town, this dude would shoot you with no questions asked. Like he's got it locked and loaded, and he's yeah, it's it, whatever. I just feel sorry for anybody who tries to sneak up here for anything. He's great though. He's from Bankhead, which is a area in Atlanta that has a very distinct accent, very distinct African American dialect, classic South sort of. And so like it's I try so hard to understand what he's saying when he yells over at me over the fence or when he calls. But yeah, I mean I don't think he's psycho. I think he's just really really protective of everything. And I think much like me, I think that if somebody came onto my property to rob me, I would. I don't think I would call the cops. I've never called the cops in my life. I think I would. I don't know. I'm not sure what I would do. It would depend on a million things, but I don't think I would kill anybody for trying to steal something. But I do think that I would probably make them feel uncomfortable. All right, one last thing I want to show everybody. I want everybody's opinion. This is a crazy thing to do on stream. This is more akin to doxing, but I gotta show you. You gotta see it. I'm just gonna get the window ready for you. This is what I'm considering. I'm considering a big life purchase. I want everybody to give me their opinion on it. once sorry, I have to edit the, I have to go through, I have to like get the HTML of the image because the stupid website won't let me just pop it out and show everybody. Oh, Jesus Christ. So stupid. All right. Let me copy and paste it. Here we go. Nope. Of course not. Oh, I typed in Amazon, that's why. There we go. What do we think? What do we think about this investment? I want everybody's opinion. I need to know. This is going to have a lot to do with the YouTube channel. Sorry, is my stream even updating that fast? There's a lot of latency here. Yeah. This is, let me tell you the story of this dog. It's about 1.5 years old. It's a border collie. My one reservation about getting a border collie was that they're too crazy. Like, I already have Cora here who's crazy. Lucy was crazy as a puppy. Kind of over the crazy dogs. You know, I was just thinking like, God, it'd be so nice to have a just chill dog, but I do like dogs that are funny. Really, the best thing that a dog is a clown. They just make you laugh all the time. And that's like why you love them. Every story you tell about a dog, it's not like, remember that time when the dog ate food? Remember when she pooed outside? No, like you talk about the fucking crazy things that dogs do that like your brain can never come up with. Yes. So I do know that border collies are nuts and they need a lot of stimulation. This border collie was trained to be a working dog on a farm to herd sheep, as most border collies are. They're usually either that or they're service dogs. They kind of go to one or the other. It's very uncommon for somebody to just train a bunch of border collies for pets. But this dog sploots too much and just doesn't have enough energy to be a working dog. Isn't like injured, just is kind of a little lazy and distracted. And so they ended up taking him out of training and putting him up for adoption. So that's so it's like one, and this one's smaller. Most border collies can get up to like 50 pounds. This one's like 30. Yeah. Anyway, so and we are Cora's like half border collie, and she's nuts. And so I also have 7 acres here, 2 of which are fenced in on a steep hill with squirrels all over the place. I feel like I mean I walk, whether when I had Lucy, I used to even walk her in a stroller when she was older, and Cora I walk pretty much every day. I mean, good. The dogs go for a walk every day. Like under no circumstances do I ever skip a day. And so I feel like a border collie, even if I didn't do that, a border collie would probably get a good workout just running around with, because I have doggy doors. Dogs can go in and out. So yeah, I don't want a dog that big. I don't want, yeah, because I thought about getting one of those. What was a great, I don't even know, Pyrenees. I thought about getting one of those because they're great chicken protectors, but I only have a few chickens. I don't know. I have more than a few. I have 15, but one of them's a rooster, and Cora is generally outside splooting in the driveway or something, and hawks and whatever else. Yeah. So what do we think? Was our vote here? Good. I see yeses. Yeah, no DNA. All right, great. Lovely. Lovely. Good. Because we need more co-hosts on the streams. Also Cora, the dog that we do have here, is was good friends with Lucy. I mean, Lucy would growl at her all the time, but they had their own little dynamic, and I feel like it's just kind of like it's weird. It's weird only having one dog now. What's his or hers name? Her name is, or his name is Gru, Gru, which I'm not thrilled about. We were thinking about like, what if we named him something that's similar to that, so it wasn't that big of a stretch, like Luke. I feel like Luke's a good name for this dog. It looks like a Luke. Yeah, I don't think training a dog. I don't think changing a dog's name is that big of a deal. Because you think about like I don't know, like anytime I've had a dog, they've kept the same name, but I've called them different things. You know, like I've like Lucy, I probably called her a million different things, and she responded to all of them. I'd call her like a dingus. I'd be like, "Get over here, dingus," and she'd be like, "Okay," you know, she knew what that meant. Yeah. Anytime you said Papillon, because she said that was her breed. Anytime you said Papillon, she'd be like, "They're talking about me." Yeah. Yeah, and most dogs respond if you fire a Glock into the air. It's usually how I like calling dogs. I just fire a Glock into the ceiling. They unload it, you know, anytime I want their attention. Like, just all 10 bullets straight into the drywall falling all over you. No, yeah, it'll be all right. Well, then I may have to go to South Carolina to get a border collie. They are the smartest breed, and that way, you know, can help with the research and stuff. Most dogs respond if you bark at them really hard, but that's kind of sad at the same time. Dude, I love it when people have dogs that they never have barked at. Like if they just did even like think to do it. And then like I just like I always ask people that. Like, have you ever barked at your dog? And if they say no, I'm like, oh, try it. Just bark at them. Because like the first time a dog hears their owner bark at them, they're just like, what the fuck is happening? It's always like the best reaction. I'm sure there's like some TikToks of it happening. I'm sure somebody else has found out. But yeah, this has always been one of my favorite things. That and like another one of my favorite things that I absolutely love is when somebody like for some reason it's just a weird thing that just like fills my brain with dopamine. Like I just laugh so hard when I see it. Is when somebody's vacuuming and their dog is attacking the vacuum cleaner and then the person's getting like actually really mad about it and screaming at the dog because the dog's like that's one of my favorite like human dog interactions is this dog's just like attacking this mechanical device and the person's like stop it, get out of the way, and the dog's like rah, 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 just bite. That's like the funniest shit in the world. Like I'm literally tearing up thinking about it. It's like the funniest thing to watch. I don't know, I love it. I could watch videos of that all day. But yeah, I put pics of my cat sleeping on my synth in the pet Discord this evening. I'll have to check that out. Oh, see that? Dude, Lucy was not scared of anything like that. It was so funny. She did not give a fuck about vac. She was just like, I don't know. I think she just knew my temperament about it. She just paid attention to how I was acting, and I wasn't anxious about the vacuum, so she'd be like, it's probably fine. Like, yeah, she was scared of very few things. Thunderstorm, she was fine. Just like fireworks would freak her out a lot. But that was about it. That was like the only thing that really, really scared her. My favorite is the dude who tells dog to press a button that says bruh. Oh yeah, I can see dog. Oh yeah, you know, my adversarial noise devices. Dogs really hate those. Can't do those around dogs. That's like my big thing is like trying to figure out how to have one of these, how to make one of these that would be like not as difficult for dogs to hear. It's on a low setting, but let's turn it up a bit. And it's you can't hear anything in real life. Like in my, I can't hear anything in the room. but a dog can. That's just filling the microphone with acoustic pressure. That's what this is. I have a bunch of these. I have like so many different shapes and sizes. I'm trying to make a massive one. I'm trying to make a big one. I'm just trying to find like good casing for it, but I have all the drivers for it and stuff. It's just on my docket. It's like on my table out there, like all the parts. I'm trying to make a big ass one like this big that could like literally kill. Like I want to make one that would work in a venue essentially, where like if somebody wanted to record a show, it would just ruin the recording. Not that I even would like release it for that use or anything. I just want to see if it's possible, and more so, I just want to see if people would be uncomfortable by it, because I did make one. I have a bigger one. It's in the house, but I have like one that sort of fits on the desk and it's a bunch of drivers. I think I used it in the video, but some people, when they're like in the room with it, they can feel the pressure in their ears. Like it feels almost as if they like went up on a mountain or something. Like their ears almost feel like they have a lot of pressure hanging out there. And it's because they do, because there's a bunch of pressure waves hitting their ears, but they just can't hear it because it's too high. What is the purpose of it? To jam microphones? Yeah. So the reason I'm making them, or the reason I'm kind of so obsessed with this, is because of the amount of listening devices around us at all times, in our houses, in stores, in public, in your car. And I don't think that we should all be like constantly blasting the world with ultrasonic frequencies, but I do think that I like the idea of there being some sort of, like, if you wanted to go to Walmart without some device fucking listening to you, or I don't even know if this is a thing that happens at Walmart. I'm sure it does though. Or if you wanted to have a very serious conversation about something that you didn't want all of your phone and tablet and laptop and Alexa and Google Home listen to just have a device that you could turn on to protect yourself from that. Or maybe even in a place where you don't want people recording, like in I don't know, in a bank lobby or something where you don't want people's phones being able to just catalog every single thing that they're hearing. A doctor's office is another good example. So yeah, again, it's like, it's funny because when I talk about projects like this that I'm working on, it's like everybody's like, well, who's going to buy it? It's like, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Like, I would rather be like an open source thing if it actually worked out well. I don't really care who buys it. Like, I just like having an answer to these things. Yeah, it's not like a business opportunity or something. I don't think of it that way. I just think of it like, I'm tired of shit here listening to everything that I'm saying. I'm tired of like, of every single decision I make in my life being harvested for data somehow. And so here's a device that can prevent that from happening. That could, it's kind of cool, I guess. But now one thing that I'm hired to do in a freelance gig is to do the adversarial noise stuff that I've been doing for music, to stop it from being AI trained for things like drones, for radio waves. That's why, if anybody saw my stream the other night at like midnight, I started a stream where I was just going on a software-defined radio, going through all these waves through a big antenna, just listening to weird number signals and trying to decode them and stuff. Yeah, because I'm trying to encode radio signals with adversarial noise that could, for example, redirect a UAV flying into Ukraine to go back home, or just lose interruption or crash or whatever it is. Basically, things that could prevent death from drone-based warfare. So that's fun. Yeah, Yahweh's was the crazy religious things. Anyway, I guess that's it. This stream was weird, huh? I'll probably not save it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just leave it as private and post it in the Discord or in the Patreon or something. Yeah, kind of the soloist stuff, the expressive E stuff was great. I like it. I like it better than Swam, to be honest. And Swam is really expensive. Unfortunately, Physical Audio's licensing took shit, so I can't use that because for some reason it's registered already. I'm assuming maybe somebody broke into my account. I don't know. Dumb anyway. It's dumb to only allow one registration for a piece of software that you buy, because a lot of people, musicians, anybody who's spending money on physical modeling stuff probably has a laptop and a PC, or a laptop and a desktop at home. So that kind of stuff doesn't make sense. All licenses should be floating. At the very least, you should be able to just like press a button in the plugin saying, do you want to deactivate the other computer that's using the license? Like, that's still, it's a pain in the ass though, because you have to do that when you're loading something. I'm not going to continue. I complain about this every other stream. It's terrible. I hate it. But fortunately, piracy exists. And I hope that piracy exists as long as shit like that exists, because it needs to be easier to buy things than it is to steal them. Like, yeah, I don't understand how nobody's understood that yet, with like Spotify and streaming taking over music, you know, kind of making music piracy way less relevant. Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, all that shit making movie piracy almost completely irrelevant. It's actually hard to find a lot of movies now. Like, it's hard to find private torrent trackers that have, they've made it so easy to watch any movie you want, to listen to any album you want, that piracy is much more difficult than it used to be. So when somebody makes a software license that is 10 times harder than downloading a torrent, I'm always just like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Make it easy for me. Put it on fucking Gumroad. They take 10% less. Well, yeah, I think 10% they take. Why even have a license key? How many people are stealing music software instead of, you know, paying for it, who would pay for it otherwise? I feel like it's just a non-issue. I feel like that's such a tiny. Well, there's studies in this. I'm not going to complete. But if you're a software developer, hit me up. I'll show you some studies. I did a video on this a few years ago, and I found some stuff that was really mind-blowing. that like piracy actually helps sales and things like that. So whatever. And ultimately, we didn't get to check out some software that may have been really cool because of licensing nightmares. So instead, I sat here for an hour and talked about coffee and vaping and grew here. But it was fun. Yep, I do that. I do use torrents for software, but it's typically for things like this. I will probably download the torrent of the software so I could check it out. And so I never have to deal with that licensing nightmare again. Sucks, but yeah, I feel like an asshole for it. Well, I did that with Serum, and that was a streaming nightmare, wasn't it? If anybody remembers. Did that get updated? Yeah, but yeah, I did that when Serum 2 came out. Their servers were overloaded. I couldn't license it. I ended up pirating it. Steve Duda ended up fucking yelling at me in the comments. More or less softly threatened me, said that he could have the channel taken down or whatever because I had pirated software on it. Then I had to take the stream down. Then he accused me of only buying it afterwards. Then I proved that I actually bought it through Splice years ago. And now I fucking hate Serum. I just hate the company. I'll never show it on my stream again. And it's all over that shit. It's just like, man, if your licensing system was only a little bit better. But whatever, I'm not going to... It's just dumb. Dumb shit. Make it easy. I would say coffee, vapes, and dogs goes harder than most plugins. That is true. I agree too. And you don't have to license any of those things. Sorry, there's one thing. Agreed, piracy is just a service problem, not a theft problem. Just make a better service people will buy. You know what my thing is with Steam or with any of this stuff? One thing that I can't stand, and I'm just going to burn bridges by saying this, and I'm sorry for saying this, but one thing that I just cannot stand is like plugin boutique. Like I just fucking, like I know their business model. I know how much they're charging plugin companies. They're leeching off of everything. They don't include an installer. It's not like Steam where they just install it and license it automatically. You still have to, I've downloaded plenty of things that like stopped working after certain versions, or I've downloaded plenty of things where I've had licensing issues with with the company's individual licensing thing. And so you just ask yourself, like, why did I buy that through Plugin Boutique? Because it was 75% off and because it was in front of me because I was already looking at Plugin Boutique. And so you just ask yourself, why does this company exist? All it's doing is draining money out of a very, very indie industry. And one could argue, well, I would have never heard of this plugin or this plugin without Plugin Boutique. But what ends up happening is you get this sort of Amazonification of things where you end up with products that only exist for the marketplace, for the privatized marketplace that profits off of it. And so you end up with this, like if you search for something on Amazon, if you search for garbage cans, now you have all these fucking brands that only exist, or clothes, God. You ever search for like a shirt, like a dress shirt on Amazon, and there's like, Wuju Zing fucking clothing, and you're like, who the fuck are these people? And you have no idea where the sizing's weird, the material's weird, the profit margin is all messed up, and it basically exists only for Americans who are ordering things next day off of Amazon, and now Wrangler or whatever brand you're already used to. And so you end up with that happening, with like these things that just coming out of nowhere. And you see that with plugins already happening on Plugin Boutique. You see that with Steam games all the time, with games that are literally made for streamers just to promote them, or for just reaction games, or like a bum simulator, shit like that, where it's just like where it just jumps out at you. They buy a bunch of marketing, they buy that homepage, and then that is now a huge chunk of the game industry. And so seeing that happen to plugins, when there's so many plugin developers who are just scraping by, who are so talented. And so one could argue, well, without Plugin Boutique, I would have never found out about this plugin. But like, it's like, well, you could start a blog. You could read music tech more often. If you read music tech more often, then maybe they might hire more reviewers, and they might make more ad revenue off of the blog and the site, and they'd review more things, and they'd go deeper into things, and it's like, it wouldn't be associated with the store. So anyway, point is, it just really irks me. And I was kind of a fan in the beginning. That's why I have an account in the first place. But I think then I just read more about their business model. I learned how much they're charging a lot of these companies. I honestly would say, if sometimes I feel like when you see the stuff on like the big sales, when they have like 90% off every Eventide plugin or something like that, I almost just want to be like, dude, just pirate it. Just pirate it and buy an Eventide pedal directly from the website. Like, you'll spend the same amount of money and you'll get a piece of hardware, and they'll make a fuck ton more. Like, just like, don't even bother. Like, all you're doing is just giving money to this middleman that probably shouldn't even exist. And so like Steam, at least Steam installs shit for you and updates shit for you. Like, I can't believe that we have this. You know what? Anybody who's like watches my channel a lot probably remembers that video about the private equity ownership of music production. And in that video, Francisco Partners had, I had basically found out how much money they lost. They lost a huge amount of money buying Native Instruments and Isotope and all that stuff. Francisco Partners is just a big investment firm. And it was funny because at the time, this wouldn't work anymore. It's too late now. But at the time, like, the only way they can make that money back is if they created a Steam for, like, I truly believe the only way they could possibly get a positive return on that investment was if they made a Steam for plugins that would do all the installation and licensing for you, and essentially just exist like a Steam for plugins. Yeah, and I mean, that would just, like, nobody would use Plugin Boutique after 2 years of that existing if it had investment behind it, but it would need investment behind it. You wouldn't be able to just do it as a mom and pop. But too late now. I think it's too well established. They own Plugin Alliance. That was the other thing too, is they own Plugin Alliance, which, like, just is like not a great experience, and not a Steam for plugins. But yeah. Honestly, I wish more people like Air Windows had Air Windows business model. I think it's amazing to see him making a living and getting by, making free plugins just with the Patreon. I just like the idea of not paying people through their intellectual property, but paying them through just your support for them, which is why I'm doing this stream. I mean, that's literally why I'm sitting here chatting to a fucking webcam, is because that's just a routine that I have set up from my Patreon with this community that almost sort of serves as like my board members. Like a lot of times I have a video idea and I'll just pitch them here, or I'll even getting a dog. You know, it's just like things where it's like it becomes part of your life. That's so much better than you paying money for videos. Or like whatever, like it's just silly. Like, oh, this video is worth $20 because this one I teach people how to make an acoustic camera, but that other one's only worth $5 because, well, this one's gonna have to go on sale because not enough people cared about, you know, the cave impulse response recording. That way of doing things is so dumb. Like just acting like it's a grocery store of ideas for sale. It's so silly. It's so much better. I feel like many companies are trying to make their own Steam for plugins, and that's bad. Like Waves, etc. They want you locked in the ecosystem, and they can. Yeah. Totally, 100%. That drives me absolutely crazy when you have to download plugin managers. That's like a new thing that I'm getting really fucking tired of. When like a company has a plugin manager that I have to install, or another one, you know, and then I end up with like an Arturia and a UVI, and it's just like every company has their own plugin manager now, and it kind of and they all want to run in the background. Like, what kind of fucking, like, imagine just an average studio computer that says yes to all this shit. It's like, how fast do they run out of RAM with all these stupid things constantly checking for updates? But yeah, I mean, you think about it, like, if you took UVI and Arturia and IK Multimedia and Waves, all these things that have their background processes that are just sort of trying to be their own branded version of a Steam for plugins where they install everything for you. And if it was just one giant library, I mean, it wouldn't have to be any more processor intensive than the others, that just installed and managed your VST plugins like Steam does. And Steam could manage your games too. If you could download a game not on Steam, at least I think you can. I haven't done it in a really long time. They may have discontinued it, but yeah, I mean, you could download a game or buy a CD, buy a game on like a DVD at Walmart or whatever, and then have Steam manage it, and it'll be in your library. I mean, I just feel like that would be so much easier. And then you would also, doing that, you would also have things where like FL Studio could integrate with your library, with your Steam VST library or something like that, or Bitwig or whatever. And they could just auto update your menu, and you could organize it that way. That would just make everybody's life easier. And what's really important though, is I don't think you should ever, I think these companies get really greedy, and you have companies like Plugin Boutique where they end up taking half of the sales from some of their clients. Like they literally, half of your money is just going to a venture capital group when you buy shit off them. I think like capping it at absolute maximum is a third, but you really could, I mean, if you only had 15% of sales from something like that, where you're installing it, where you're dealing with the licensing, dealing with some level of support, 15%, and 10% pays for the server upkeep for whatever employees you have working, you know, keep it updating the software, making sure it works on things. And that only leaves 5%. You are getting 5% of all plugin sales. Like you're still making hand over foot, and you're not buying any of it. And you don't own any of the IP. You don't have to buy any of the IP. That's insane. That's crazy. That's bigger money than anywhere else in the music production world. Like whoever does that would make out like a bandit, but they're too fucking greedy. You have shit like, so you just have shit like Plugin Boutique where they're like, well, why install anything? Well, why deal with the licensing? Let the companies deal with the licensing. Why only take 30% when we could take 40 or 50? Just shit's so dumb. The community has become quite important for me. Love the Discord. I'm alone a lot during the week, so I feel like you heard me. People, yeah, absolutely. I definitely. That's what I want it to be. That makes me happy to hear. And I know there's a lot of people in the community that sort of feel similar. And I think that's great. That's like so wonderful. That's so much more than anything I could create. You know, like with sim selections, for example. stuff like that. I feel like that's so much more than what I could create to YouTube or what I could give to people. Like, because that's really what the community just does for itself. And I can't take credit for any of it because it's just it literally is. It's something beautiful that sort of is just what a bunch of creative and curious people do, just under an umbrella. And so that's awesome. I'd love to do a in real life meetup. We were actually looking at Okefenokee Swamp, which about renting out the entire campground there. Well, it's like there's cabins, renting out the entire thing in a month like October or something when it's mild and the bugs aren't crazy and the gators aren't quite as out. And the only problem is getting there. You just have to fly into like Jacksonville or some shit, which isn't the best. But anyway, well, thank you. I'm glad though. What a great time to pull out of this over the stream where I did nothing but chatted at a webcam and went overtime somehow doing that. Yeah, that'd be fun. But yeah, there is a in real life simulation chat room, so maybe I'll post something about that there. There's also KnobCon, and I don't want to do it with associated with any sort of synth convention. That's always it just ends up being too crazy. Cool. Well, do I think I'd ever do a Medicine stream? Yeah, maybe. I was using Medicine not terribly long ago. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I just have to output my MacBook to HDMI, which means I've turned my MacBook on, which is something I don't like doing, updating it. So we'll see. But yeah, next week I think next week will have to be sim selections. Tomorrow we'll see how far I get. I'm gonna try and do another fireworks stream, which is for anybody who's never seen that. I already made a thumbnail for it. I like to do very long. I'm not here the entire. I mean, I'm not like in front of the camera the entire. What I like doing is putting microphones outside that detect giant booms, and the fireworks are really loud where I live because I'm surrounded by. I live up on. It looks like a rural mountain around my house, but I'm surrounded by city everywhere. But Atlanta's literally a mile away. Downtown Atlanta's literally, like a 15-minute drive away. I'm very close to the city. I could see the skyline from my property. And everybody's shooting fireworks up in the air. They're shooting fireworks up in the air to where they're level with me up on this mountain. And so it's really loud here. I like putting microphones outside that pick up anything over a certain threshold. And when they do that, they send a signal, a gate signal, to a modular or to software, and then that makes music and makes calm, chill music that for people who are annoyed or nervous or traumatized or anything about, just people who don't like fireworks. I'm a person who just doesn't like listening to it all day. It just puts me on edge. So that was my way of dealing with it. And yeah, the last 2 years, people really enjoyed that sort of the firework meditation music. So I'm going to try and do that tomorrow. I'm going to try and make a patch by nighttime and then just have it live streaming, which will be fun. Because I know last year a lot of people were, I remember just seeing in the chat that a lot of people were wearing headphones for like 5 hours listening to it. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll do it on the actual modular. I have new modules that will be in a stream in a few weeks, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have them installed by the time we get those. And tattoo. Yeah, this is a tree here that I got, just literally went to a tattoo artist that I really like their work and I wanted a tree and they put a tree there. This is a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu symbol, the old school Gracie Jiu-Jitsu symbol. And then I just have a giant swastika right here in my chest, like an American history accent. Nah, just kidding. I got that removed last week, so it's still a little sore. No, I don't have any. I was thinking about getting a Chicago flag right there, but I feel like our bodies change too much. So getting anything that's like, a box, I feel like it'll just end up looking like a heart if I get man boobs or something in the future. So I'm a little worried about that, but. Yes. Yeah, I will update you with pictures if I end up getting Gru or Luke or whatever his name will be. All right. Well, I'll see some of you tomorrow in the chat. if I do the fireworks stream. And I'll see you next week. And I'm just trying to get through my bird video, my ultrasonic bird video. It's very dependent on nature and background noises. I have like one more shoot to do with it, and I'll be done. I just need that few minutes of pristine bird noise. So hopefully I'll have that out within the next week. That'd be really nice to move on to something else. I was also thinking about doing a video just based on shit that I've been reading on all levels of social media. A video that I don't want to make, but I feel like I should, just because I made the capitalism video and the bot video and some other videos. A video just called, and I'm not sure I'm going to do this yet, but I really just wanted to make a pretty easy video called So I'm a Libertarian, that talks about egalitarian and leftist libertarianism, that talks about the foundation of America, about like we were like, you know, pretty much the first democracy, the first real one, that just talks about like that belief system and how it's nothing like right-wing politics and how guns are not nearly as important as human rights are. And just, I think ultimately I would really like people to just maybe view that with a little bit more of an open mind, because I think that really changes the way that you look at what's happening in politics in general. Because I think most people in this chat, whether they want to admit it or not, are libertarians to some degree. Because I feel like when you have a conversation without the words and you just talk about the principles, a lot of progressively minded people are very libertarian because they put human rights and liberty first. And really whatever. This will be part of the video. We'll do this in a video in the future, but I don't know if classical. I mean, I feel like, yes, Billy Dreadful. That's a hilarious thing. I really wanted to that will be in the beginning of my video, because out of all the people that I did not want to hear from about my libertarianism, Hassan Piker would be the number one. I was just when somebody told me, oh, he's doing a thing on your video, and I watched part of it, and then in it, everybody in the chat saying he's libertarian scum. Ben Jordan's a libertarian scumbag. Fuck him. He's a libertarian. And then Hassan Piker literally watching a video of me briefly talking about being a libertarian and saying, this is fine. Yeah, it's great. I was like, wow, I thought that I was going to like have the worst month ever on the internet. I thought he was just going to like hear those words and then tear me to shreds. But he listened to my point, and he, I think, compared me to Noam Chomsky or something. So it's like, cool, like, great. That's exactly what I'm going for. Yes. Yeah, I would consider myself a libertarian left, but I almost don't like that term. I don't like thinking of libertarian as right and left. I like thinking of it as just because I feel like a lot of people look at it as like I'm left and I also have libertarian tendencies. And I don't look at it that way. I look at it, it's like, no, like liberty and civil rights and science and doing things based on evidence and research. That's my number one. And then left and right comes after that. Like those are the principles on which I think things will work the best. And everything else, it comes behind that. And so that's why I try not to think about left and right when I think about my own politics. Because I try and get away from that. I try and like, I like Cory Booker, but I always want to fucking take every word that comes out of his mouth and put it through a fine-tooth comb and make sure, I don't want to just take a politician's word for it forever. And I don't, even Donald Trump, I don't always want to hear everything he says and then say, I hate him. He's wrong. I don't want to do that. I mean, that's how we ended up with our political spectrum now, where like half the fucking laws that we're passing are just because they're not woke or because they're what Democrats would hate, which is like a terrible way to govern. It's just like that's such a 12-year-old way to do things. And so, yeah, I don't like looking at that. I try as hard as I can not to look at things that way. And once you do that, you realize how advantageous it is for our modern political parties to have everybody looking at things as if they're fucking college football teams, not laws and and things that will dictate your destiny, which is really important. It's like, so yeah, but I do want to make a light video about that, like a chill video about that, because I think that that's actually, because I'm just hearing about me being a libertarian too much in comments and shit. And I feel like that's like the first address people saying something video I need to make, is because I think that it's really important that people understand a little bit more nuance than, because I think the way they look at it, I mean, I literally have people saying like, oh, Benn doesn't believe that age of consent should be a thing. It's like, what the fuck? No, absolutely not. That's not at all. That's like, it's not even remotely close to where I am politically. It's not that kind of libertarian. But the worst day in capitalism is still better than the best day in socialism. Maybe. I don't know. Americans have a skewed well, you know what? People always say you can't have socialism and capitalism in the same system, that they both can't work. And I think that's like one of the most delusional things I've ever heard. Like, I think that's just, I cannot wrap my head around how anybody would actually say that and act like it was an actual thing. Like, in the vast majority of countries in the world, capitalism exists rampantly. Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, France, Japan, even China, countries with incredible socialized services, countries that have frameworks built on socialism for socialist services, like the ones I just mentioned, the Nordic countries that take care of their citizens in every way, and many of them tax them like crazy too. Capitalism exists in there, and I cannot think of one country where capitalism exists where that is not built on a government that has some level of socialist principles. So saying that those two things can't coexist might be one of the most ridiculous, and I mean, this is like a common statement you see everywhere, and it might be one of the most ridiculous takes in the world. It's just like, have you looked around? Have you ever seen the fire department show up to a McDonald's fire? Because those two things are coexisting just fine. I mean, except for the fire that's happening, that's bad news. But other than that, yeah, that's kind of how it works. But no, I know you're trying to make a joke, but yeah, I think that and I also think that like people who say capitalism bad or socialism bad, I think that's just like, well, really? Really? That's what you think about it? That's your take, huh? Capitalism bad, socialism bad? Like one or the other? Like, do you have a jersey that says that? Maybe like one with the holes in it, like so you could breathe more when you pretend to play in a football team in it. Yeah, do you have a number on the back? It's so ridiculous that people have takes like that, because it's like, yeah. Another one I hate is there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Yeah, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. That one I hate so much. I've almost burned it from my memory just because I hate that one so much. Just because I just want to see, whenever I hear somebody saying that, I imagine them screaming it out the window at some little girls selling lemonade on the side of the fucking road. Like, there is no, like, yeah, I don't think that's like, capitalism is just another word for trade in modern times, and it gets very complicated and it gets very rotten at times. And socialism is just another word for social services that are created by government or state. And so it's like, if you look at things that way, it stops being as crazy. Yeah, isms, fuck isms. We'll start a party called Fuckism. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I'm not so big on the left and right. I'd much rather be in my own little libertarian basement and thinking about things in ways that hopefully can transcend the team stuff. Yeah, I mean, I late stage capitalism, I just don't know what that means. But I mean, I do think I think that we're in it. I think I don't know if we're in late stage capitalism. I just believe that we've the greedy people who used to be the bad guys, who used to be the super villains of capitalism, the the old, Bill Gates and GM and AT&T and these sort of crazy I feel like after 2008, uh, now those people are sort of the understudies of, or the sort of they're taking second place in the supervillain to the people who are like, I don't know, neo meta capitalists, feudalists, people who are just owning more and more things and then renting it back to us. Um, uh, Large companies and large investment organizations that don't make profit, that don't even bother making profit, that just keep owning more power, keep owning more things, whether it makes profit or not, and then just hedging against inflation. Like those people, in my opinion, are after your 401k. They're after your social security that the government's holding for you. They're after your savings and your retirement. That's what they want. That's what they're doing, and they're going to get it through inflation. They're just going to hyperinflate everything. They're going to own everything. They're going to charge more for it, and then you're going to, when you die, you'll have exactly as much as you need to die on a mattress, and they'll have the rest. That's what's happening. And if you look at things through that lens, it might sound conspiratorial and crazy. When you look at things through that lens, everything makes so much more sense. You could look at the news right now. We could open up Google News or whatever and go down the list and see everything. It will go through the big, beautiful bill, go through something that Donald Trump said, constantly insulting the Federal Reserve chair to lower interest rates. You could look through every single thing and it all lines up then. It's like, yep, that will make my retirement worth less. that will make it harder. Yep, I'll have to pay more to get less, and eventually it'll all just get whittled away. That's the robber baronism that's happening right now. And so, yeah. My home country, Poland, untangled itself from this nonsense. Thank God. I love capitalism since I've seen it first time. Again, we're talking isms, right? You can't say capitalism's bad and you can't say capitalism's good because it's not like a person that's judged before God. It's just framework. And I think that capitalism is going to happen whether we allow it or not. It happened in the Soviet Union, even though it wasn't allowed. God, look at China. I mean, they're like a crazy amount of capitalism going on. And it's very well tied to every single thing in our houses and apartments or whatever that we have here. Every single industry is being subsidized or being nurtured by Chinese capitalism, a place where it, is supposedly not even allowed, or wasn't until it became a little bit more formally allowed. Because at the end of the day, when you get rid of all capitalism, you're getting rid of trade, and people trade with each other. That's what they do. Whether they're trading fruit, whether they're trading services, whether they're doing favors for one another. That's just what they do. And they're always going to do that. And you're always going to have evil. You're always going to have some sort of evil actor in that system as long as jealousy exists. Like, I don't believe, people always say that people are inherently greedy. And I don't believe that. I think people are inherently jealous. Like, I don't think, when you see somebody like Elon Musk, and you have to ask yourself, I mean, now he's like, I don't know, he's trying to be cool again or something. But, for the last 2 years, when he'd go down to the border and scream about, and throw a fit about all the migrants getting into the country, the richest person in the world going down to the border and complaining about a bunch of people in handcuffs sitting in the desert. And you have to ask yourself, why is this a problem to him? He's the richest person in the world. Well, it's because he's more concerned with what they're going to get, because he believes because that's how jealousy works, because we have loss aversion. And so I don't believe people are inherently greedy. I just think they're jealous. They're concerned with what they have in comparison to another person. And so when you have whenever you have that other person, you're always going to have some level of that sort of greed and that sort of evil that exists in trade. And there's no way to get rid of it unless you there isn't a way to get rid of it. I don't know of a way that you could ever possibly get rid of trade and how you could ever possibly get rid of jealousy. I think that a lot of people have died needlessly in attempts to get rid of it, in attempts to like transcend to a more caring social service type of, or more caring communism or something like that. I think that like it's been very, we've tried, many civilizations, many societies, and many countries have tried one way or another to get around that and failed. And it ultimately, and before I even read any more of these responses, I think that, and this is not me saying I love capitalism or hate capitalism. I don't. I'm not responding to it that way. But in capitalism's corner, if you're going to look at it that way, you could look at just a chart of people starving to death over the last century. And you could just see it nosedive. And you could see famine nosediving and dropping tremendously. People dying of diseases has gone way down. People live so much longer. And a lot of that is because of technology, and a lot of that technology is a result of trade and capitalism. And whether you want to say that it could be done one way or another, you have to acknowledge that it has been done and that things have gotten a lot better in so many ways than they were 100 or even 200 years ago before we were doing things this way. Yeah, and it's exponential typically. COVID kind of screwed things up, but you have to appreciate that, or I appreciate that at least. I know things could be better, and I believe things could be better, and I fucking hate the way most of my subscribers subscribe because they like how cranky I am about a lot of shit. But you have to appreciate also that we've come a very long way, and that a lot of the opportunism has resulted in a lot of diseases being cured and a lot of problems being solved. So anyway, sorry, I see some of these long blocks of text and I'm like, I don't want to do that just yet. Yeah, and shitification. I mean, I kind of knew that was coming on day one. Well, once I kind of realized that was happening with Spotify and MoviePass. Those are like the two ones where I was just kind of like, I think MoviePass was the biggest one where I kind of realized that, oh, everything's going to go downhill now. Like, just because that was the first time I really fully understood the length that venture capital investors will go to subsidize your lifestyle in order to make their company bigger. Like, even though there's no profit in sight, there's no plan, it's just, we have to grow and be the biggest, and then we'll figure it out later. And once I realized that all these companies are working that way, it's like, oh, well, of course it's going to get shittier for everybody because it's an expensive money hole right now, and it's already shitty. Valve is not public, therefore doesn't answer to shareholder value. Was just giving an example. Also, I think that they are the shareholders, right? Yeah, so I don't want to get into the weeds with that, but worship the burning money, it will guide you. Yeah. I was just writing today when I was field recording, I was just sort of sitting quietly and typing up. I'm going to have an automatic email on my email address that's like associated with my YouTube that will basically just respond to any email that comes to that and say, I'm not going to respond to you if you're offering money to make a video about a product or recommend something. I'm only going to do an ad read if it's for charity, and it has to be, this much CPM and this much money up front because I'm doing it for charity, so I want it to be significant. And that's probably higher than what most people are willing to pay. It's just basically doing that, and then also saying, and if you want to email me outside of that, or if you think that you have something that transcends whatever I'm saying here, you have to donate $1 to one of the following charitable organizations, and then in the receipt page, you will get my email address, and then I will actually read that email because I just can't keep up with my email inbox right now due to the level of AI shit coming in. That just, and why was I telling that story? Something in the chat reminded me of that was very relevant. Oh yeah, I was just writing it, and while I was writing it, and while I was like saying, I'm not going to respond to emails about this. Don't email me about this. Don't email me about this. And due to like the nature of this YouTube platform, my platform on YouTube being a nonprofit organization, it was kind of funny because I read through the whole thing and I was like, I kind of feel like the Joker. I kind of feel like the amount of money that I am willing to just not take for my stubborn ass principles is like, I don't know. I was just sort of reading it back to myself, thinking to myself, like, if I were like a marketing executive, if I were another YouTube, if I were like the Jake Paul type of person or something, it'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? You could like retire with a year of these offers, but like, I don't know. So I'm either dumb or dumb and stubborn. One of those two things. Yeah. Yeah. Just all newspaper, just a giant. Well, unfortunately, I don't have time to do that, so I'll just type it. But I'm sure a bunch of people are going to be pissed off too, companies especially. Oh, another thing that I said in there, another thing that's in there is if you have software you want me to check out on a stream, just email me a license code for it. Because just email me a download link and a license code, and I'll probably check it out a lot faster. I don't want to have a conversation about it. I don't want to start an account. I don't want to download any managers. And if it's subscription software, I'm not interested at all. And if I have to use iLock, I'm not interested. It was like a list of like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Send me a license key if you want me to view it on stream. But whatever. You know what? The whole reason I'm doing it is because I want to just wake up and read 5 email messages and respond to them like a normal human being. Because like the shit I have, I don't know if you follow me on social media, I've shit like fucking AI bots are scanning my videos and then trying to start conversations with me about like current events and my videos, and then trying to like get me to work with them as a middleman for some ad read. Like 50 emails a day do this. I mean, it's rampant. And the other week, some of them started using using Lucy like as the topic. Like, I'm really sorry to hear about Lucy's death. It's just like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Like, are you fucking kidding me? You're using my dog's death as a way to get me to talk about NordVPN on my channel? Fuck you. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, that made me realize, like, I can't even read my goddamn email anymore. Like, there's probably so many people who mean well, who are like writing me thoughtful emails, and I can't even see it anymore because it's just like a goddamn stock ticker. So that's why I'm doing this. That's the reason. It's not because I'm like, I just like, I would like for there to be a way to contact me without, I would like for the public to be able to contact me about something. I don't want to be completely untouchable or something. I don't want to be like, completely impossible to contact. But at the same time, I just need a filter for that shit because it's terrible. Yeah. Well, funny thing about that is every Christmas for the last 4 years, about 4 years, I think since like 2020, every Christmas around October, I know that companies are reaching their end of year finance. Like their accountants are sort of counting everything up. They know how much they could spend. They know how much they overspent, whatever else. They know how much they're going to owe in taxes, or they have a good idea of it. That's the best time to ask for donations. And so for 4 years now, I've been saying, all right, how about this? All y'all who want me to talk about your service, your product, your subscription, whatever, in an ad read on my video, want to pay me to do it. I want to make a video where I do a bunch of ad reads. I'm very heartfelt about them. I talk about things that I actually think are cool at the company. Obviously, a company like BetterHelp or something is not going to be a good candidate for that. It has to be a company that I actually think is, somewhat useful. And then in that, I will buy a bunch of gifts and a bunch of things and then give it to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to have it. Yeah, I'd blur their faces. I don't want them to be like, but that would be it. It would be a feel-good video where I did ad reads and I spent all the money on gifts for people, and it would come out around Christmas. Every single year, every single one of those people who constantly emails me over and over about that shit just vanishes when I respond that, or say, "Oh, that's a great idea, but we can't work with any charitable, and we can't do this because of charity. Oh, we can't, having this. We want the video done by the end of the month." There's always some sort of reason why they can't do it, and at first it was kind of heartbreaking. It was just like, man, this industry fucking blows. And now it's almost funny. Like, I just set it up where it's just like, man, y'all just love anything that's like, you're allergic to anything that's good. It's like, if it's not deceiving my viewers in the most like, deceptive, organic looking way, in exchange for like some botched system that you have to like, pay me less than what I'm worth, then like you're just not interested at all. If you see anybody getting a gift, it's just like, nah, that can't work. Yeah. But anyway, that'd be fun. But it'll never happen. But I'll try again in October. We'll try and make it work because I think that it's for a good cause. And now, God, I think it would actually make a huge deal. Like the Ground News ad reads I did for UNICEF, I think between the two of them made about $75,000 for charity. That's dope. People complain about it. Oh, you're talking about Ground News for 60 seconds at the end of a video, at the tail end after the video's done. People complain about it. It's like, no, man, that saves lives. That's incredible. That's great. I'm so happy. That makes me so happy about having my channel. Like, that's great stuff. But yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm actually going to go now. Yeah. Sorry, Jay. You'll have to go back. We were just talking about I have to go back a few. We're talking about libertarianism and sponsors. You know what about Ground News? You know what you could do that I didn't say in the ad? I didn't say in the, because I wanted to, but I think that I don't think they want you to. You can download Ground News right now. Go to the website, sign up with a fake spam address, whatever you want, and use 90% of the features for free. And a few of them are part of the paywall. And the paywall is not that much. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I mean, I don't even have a free one. I paid for it. I paid for it myself just because it's not even a left or right thing for me. It's just a matter of like making news more manageable. It's not having a news algorithm. It's worth that. Not having a financial incentive for me to read one thing or another. So instead, I'm just paying, saying, here, organize my news, please. Thank you. Organize it in a way that just puts the most important story on the top and the least important story on the bottom, because that's impossible to find now. Yeah. So, and it does that for free too. So it's fine. It's great. It's boring. That's the best part about it. It's boring. You get bored. You'll read the news less with Ground News because you're not reading fucking crazy news headlines that are clickbait. You're just reading blah, 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 Democrats vote for this, Republicans vote for this. 2 bombs hit Libya today and struck by law, just things like that, where you're just like, oh, that's news. Okay, great. And then you go on with your day and you learn about the world a little bit faster that way. So that's nice. And then of course, like the actual principle behind the whole thing is that you could see what the source is of the news. I don't even look at the rating. I just look at, oh, this is literally a private equity group owns this, and they're talking about how valuable, one of their companies is in a news story. Well, that seems a little advantageous. Or, you find out how many news agencies are owned by the Russian government when they're talking about Ukraine or something. And you're like, all right, okay, probably won't read that from them. That's useful. That's about, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Yeah, you could have RSS feeds too. Ground news is just easier. And then like, people like family members and stuff. I think for a lot of people who are kind of like Fox News pilled or CNN pilled, I think having something that actually says, look, here's a little secret passageway where you could see all the biases and get to the bottom of things easier. I feel like that's super valuable. That's such an improvement over the way that they're currently getting information. So I'm a fan. Something else that Ground News did? I don't even know if I'm allowed. Yeah, I'm allowed to say. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm not breaking an NDA or anything. Before I worked with them, and I do this with any sponsor I have worked with. I think Ground News is the only sponsor I've worked with in the last few years. Yeah, I told them I need to see your investors. Like, it's not a public company. They have very, very private investors. A lot of their investors don't want to have it on their portfolio for good reason, because it's like kind of, it's about finding bias in the news. And yeah, and so they actually sent me a confidential document of all their investors, and none of them are nefarious at all. You see a lot of comments on the internet saying, like, you should see some of the people invested in Ground News. I've seen them. I've looked it over. It's fine. No problems. I don't think any of them, I don't think there's any billionaires invested in it that I could find. It's pretty above water, I mean, most of the company is run by, the CEO is, I believe the CEO is a woman in Canada, and who started it, and her brother is like vice president or something. It's pretty above ground. I'm not selling them to you. I'm just saying, like, that's generally what I do when I work with like, if a brand wants to work with me, they have to be completely transparent about that, because I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to listen to some shit being like, it's owned by Rupert Murdoch. You find out years later, oh, Elon Musk owns it. I don't want to hear it. And so I just want everything on the table in the beginning. But we've raised a lot of money for Ukraine and UNICEF, and that's wonderful. So great. All right. Wonderful. That's the end of my stream. I'm actually leaving now. I feel like I said that an hour ago, and here I am. And it's time for my damn, I can't remember that. I need my old fashioned so bad I can't even remember the name of it. All right, time for my old fashioned. All right. I'll see everybody next week, and probably see you tomorrow for a little bit. Maybe I'll do an early stream wiring up my fireworks stream, and then I'll put the firework on live. All right, talk to you later, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and enjoy your holiday safely. Don't drink and drive. Don't be an idiot. Don't do anything like that. That's what dumb people do. Don't be dumb. Bye.